Good morning, good evening, good night to anybody who's out there right now watching this. I see all the usual suspects are in the house. What's going on, everyone? Going to do our quick audio check once the stream catches up to me. So let's see what happens here. Let's see here. All right. Get situated here. Get rid of that. All right. Audio is working. It is good. Oh yeah, everybody's in there this evening. Jumped in there. Welcome everyone. Glad everybody could be here. I'm glad I could be here. Let's see. Who's in there? Renee's in there. Said I think it was the first one in there. Hello Renee. Good to see you in there. And he. Mimi Reacts is in there. Let's see. I don't know why that's helpful review, but that was Renee Cruz's. I'm not sure why. Disclosure TV's in there. Metalhead, what's going on? Good to see you in there. What's up? Mike Knapp's in there. What's going on, Mike? Good to see you in there. Adam's in there. He says, morning, everyone. Renee, yes, Subway it is. It is the BMT. I think you said even lower. I started reading these just before I just got on. Jay McGuffey, what's going on, Jay? Good to see you in there. Let's see. Phil C's in there. What's going on, Phil? Daniel Lee says, hi, good evening, Chris. Brilliant video today. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Let's see. Joss D's in there. What's going on, Joss? Good to see you in there. Dave Jones is in there. What's going on, Dave? Good to see you in there. And Habit Mars, what's going on in Habit? I am. Says, hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? MG Toes in there. Says, thumbs up, everyone. Oh, yeah, that's funny. At least our thumbs down is here this evening. It was funny. The last video I put on there, this was funny. The video I put on today, it wasn't on there, I'm going to guess, 20 seconds, thumbs down. So I have a feeling I don't know who this is. And it's just comical, to be honest with you. I'm just glad they could be here. I feel like it's out of place if they don't actually thumbs it down. That'd be kind of weird, though, isn't it? Like, you always get that thumbs down, all of a sudden you don't get it. It's like, what's going on here? Feel like I'm not being loved anymore. Get the haters. You know, the haters going to hate. You know how that goes. Let me see who else is in there. Let me put this on here. What's up, everyone? Renee says, I'm not good with the computer technology, and I don't want to just keep pressing buttons by accident. Just press them randomly. Be all right. No, I'm just kidding. Last thing you want to do is get thrown off somewhere and can't get back to where you're supposed to be. Leslie Warren's in there. What's going on, Leslie? I hope you're doing well. You said, hi, my mateys. I'm just out of the hospital. I can't talk too much, and my cat was poorly taken to the vets. Talk about a pair of... I've got to take it easy, so my cat, Mistra, so glad to see you all. Well, I'm glad you're back and everything's well there, Leslie. I hate to hear people sick and stuff like that. My wife's cousin just passed away today. They said her sister was telling her that she was going to be in hospice, and I guess she never even made it to that. So we hate to hear things like that. I hope you're doing well now, and just take her easy, and that's it, right? Planetary Protector says, hey, everyone, what's going on there, Planetary Protector? Let me see. What's going on there, Chris? Chris Blake's in there. Lionheart Glass Works, what's going on? He says, hello, everyone. James Dixon's in there. Hello, all, and good Friday to everyone. Good to see the normal crowd, as always. Yep. It's like a happy family just gets here, right? We're just cool with everybody, just glad to see everybody's here. Everybody's doing well. Even some of us are not doing so well. It's still good to be here. You feel, again, like family. And, and the cool thing about it is, like, when you have, like, a reaction to, somebody, that might be ill or, as Leslie, she was in a hospital, you hate to see that. And, you just hope they do well and everything turns out okay. Because it's like I said, you become like a family type thing. And then when you see one of them missing or something's wrong with them, you just hate to see that, So, Well, we like it when everybody's here because everybody just gets in like the round table and just has a discussion, which is awesome. Renee Vaughn, Oosterhout, what's going on? You said, hi, Chris, and chat. Everybody okay with you guys? Everything okay with you guys? Yes, we're doing well. I hope you're doing well, Renee. Renee Vaughn. Let's see. Jay McGuffey says, the technology of our creative creators is now within our grasp. That's true. Renee says, I went to the Subway sandwich shop just down the block from my house, but it's closed due to pandemic. Wow, I'm surprised. I wanted to get a sweet tea and a BMT sandwich just like Chris today. Well, I actually got a root beer today, only because I think they said something about they were out of it. The wife went and got it, which she usually does. Great woman. I'm glad I married her. Not just because of the Subway, but just a great woman all the way around. It's hard to find those nowadays. But yeah, the BMT is the bomb. So, gotta have it. That's weird that it's down, though. I can understand, you can go through the drive-thru like some of these places. So we've been open for a while. You can just walk right in there and get it. So, yeah. Josh D said, thank you, Chris, for all. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Josh. I noticed that the video there, when I had to splice it, it kind of said, Josh, and it kind of made your name didn't sound right. But Josh is the one that told me about where, what is it, Odyssey.com, that he was talking about the clarity. He said, is it me or is it clarity? And like I said in the video I just put out, where I took the same video and put them up and queued them up at the same exact timestamp. And I'm looking at him saying, man, there is slight clarity. And it's definitely better. You can tell just by looking at, like, if you look at just me on there, like I was describing about the door on the back here, we can see the squares and the designs in it. You can see it clearer on there than you can on here. So what's wrong with the player here on YouTube that, people can see it, I'd say a good, what do you think, Josh? About 20% better? I'd say at least. Definitely clearer. Martin Steed, what's going on? He said, evening. Hope you're doing well there, Martin. Let's see. Clerks 93's in there. Yo, what's happening? Good to see you in there, Clerks 93. Martin Penwright's in there. What's going on, Martin? Good to see you in there. Says hi. Let me see. Phil Cox with daughters Jessica and Kelsey Brown. What's going on there, Phil? Good to see you in there. We are well here. I see a lot of people are doing well, and we're all here at the round table there. Dave Jones. I've not seen today's video, Chris. Feel like I've not done my homework for tonight's chat. LOL. I mean, yeah, you can check it out. And it's, I'll be honest with you. When I saw it, wasn't expecting a whole lot. I did see some weirdness in the wheel marks on the ground. And it turned out to be something totally different than I expected. Although I'm not surprised as far as something being hidden. But the way it came out, I was just like, clearly this is not wheel marks. There's no way. And a couple of people commented on that, saying that I don't know where they're getting the info from, and we'll check this out. I'll go back to the Photoshop photo just to show everybody that a couple of people had said, well, since it's been there for a month, it's been turning around and everything else. No, not at all. You can clearly see where it's actually moved up, dropped the cover, and then moved on. It did not circle. Why would it circle around the debris shield or dust shield? Call it what you will. Why would it do that? There's no need for it to do that. When it first landed, and of course it's going to do its own self-diagnostics or diagnosis. Doesn't matter. It'll move its wheels side to side, and whatever it's got to do, cameras and everything else. Is just sit there and do. It won't move until then. Once it's done all its testing, then it'll move forward, backwards, make sure everything's functional. And of course, they get all the data in, and they can see what it's doing, and then it decides to move forward. Well, after it's done that, it's moved on. It's going to just slowly move on until they say, okay, here's a spot. We don't care where we drop the cover, because the helicopter's not going to land there. They're not going to drop it from the belly of the Perseverance rover. They're going to move on to somewhere it's flat, and then they're going to go ahead and drop it. So I'm not sure where they're getting the idea that this thing's like circling around, and this is the reason why we have these shapes in the sand. I'm not sure where they're getting that from. They're not going to sit there and waste their time going around in circles around the cover. Now, I forget who it was, said it's weird because it looks like the cover itself is on a square. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it appears like it's almost on a square. And even if you were to say, well, it drove around the cover, again, I don't know why it would do that, but it'd be circular, not more of a square. So, yeah, I'm not sure where they're getting that from. But like I said, we'll take a quick look at that just so, people can better understand it. But one of them sounded more sarcastic than anything. Oh, I don't see anything of any value here. Okay. So I told him, I said, clearly you did not watch the video, because if you did, it's not just simple wheel marks. And, yeah. If anything, you should see the marks that we see on the left. We should see those on the right, but a lot thinner. And that's not what we see at all. So, no. I think it all comes down to a little bit of common sense. And when I get to the bottom, it definitely jumped on me here. So that's awesome. Pyramid 1974, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Ricardo Petrozzi's in there. What's going on, Ricardo? Good to see you in there. Coors is in there. What's going on, Coors? What's going on with you? Good to see you. Let me see. Trustee, you said it was very good to see on big screen 20 at least. Oh, yeah. I think the bigger the better, right? Just, every now and then I'll turn my computer on in the other room, and I'll put it on the 65 inch, and just like, boom, it's like right there, So you got a good output and a good video card, GPU, and pump it through a good TV. Mine's 4K, but the computer's not, but still full HD, so it looks really good compared to somebody trying to watch something on their little phone like this. It's like, what is that? I can't do that. I want to see all the details I can. And I know some of you have said that you'll take your phone, you'll cast it to your TV, which is a smart move, because you can see it a whole lot bigger. And I know a lot of the, I don't care what you're on. I don't care if it's a tablet, whatever. You can always cast it onto your TV. A lot of TVs now, the smart TVs already got cast basically built into it, right? Dave Jones, you can always count on Bruce to keep the thumbs down. But yeah, I mean, I can't say who it really is technically, but wouldn't surprise me. And that's fine. Good to see him there. It's not bothering me. Arts and Crafts is in there. What's going on, Arts and Crafts? Good to see you in there. Oh, I didn't read anything about that disclosure. You said Disclosure TV said yesterday federal agencies told reporters they can't give any info for the 180-day UFO report to Congress. Somehow they'll end up having to do it. And they'll have to put something out. You can always guarantee it. Although it's going to be, like you got a lot of the paperwork, and they'll talk about a certain UFO, wherever it was. You'll see like all kinds of names just, markered out and all kinds of other things. It's actually a joke. So if there's nothing to hide, why just put all the names out there and all that other stuff? Why? You afraid to incriminate somebody? What's the big deal? To me, it makes no sense, right? Addison Smith, the question was, did you see, I guess you're saying, did you see Secure Team 10 is back? I have. I'm kind of glad he is, because here's the thing. He went through the operation and all that stuff. I'm sure, I don't know if you guys have been aware of him being back too. And he's also said he's made mistakes. I mean, come on. Does everybody approve of like certain things that he's done? Probably not. I know I wouldn't. The point is, he screwed up. He paid his, price basically. He admitted to he had lied in the past. And far as I'm thinking, he even said something about, how he had done the videos in the past, where he was like, I don't know if he was like CGI-ing some of it and messing with the voice recordings and all this other crap. And even if they didn't, they caught him basically red-handed, right? So everybody deserves a second chance, and I'm glad to see him back. Let him do his thing and let him rock and roll and just move on. I mean, that's the way I look at it, right? For whatever reason. So I'm like I said, I saw his video. And he's talking about showing his scar and his stitches and everything else and his side, and so yeah, I guess he said he should be dead or something like that, or shouldn't be alive or whatever he said. Yeah. So Terry G, question was, what is Mars helicopter looking for? Well, right now they're just, according to NASA, it's just basically stretching. It's a giant experiment, according to NASA. They want to see if something can fly up there, so on and so forth, right? I think, I'll be truthful with you guys, I think they've already been there before they even showed the public. And the reason for that is because just the way it looks, again, this photo I just did today, and that video I just dropped, when you look at it, you just go, there's no way that thing, it looks like it was superimposed into that photo. The dust cover, debris cover, shield, call it what you like. It just appears like it's been messed around with. It looks like it's been superimposed. So something tells me that they were on Mars before they did the landing to the public. So I think the helicopter, they already knew it would fly, probably already took photos, did all kinds of crazy stuff with it, and now they're going to make sure it actually flies good and everything else. And, of course, well, once they unveil, call it what you will, unveil it to the public, oh, wow, here's the first photos of it on the ground, and we're going to have it lift off. And it's supposed to go, I think its first one's 3 meters or 10 feet. It's supposed to fly up, come back down. And then it's supposed to go up, circle around, come back, and then come back down. So they're going to try it, go up, go left to right, and then land, and then they're going to try it again. I think, come on, if you know it will fly, all you got to do is go up and down, okay? Again, a lot of calculations are going to be made. How much thrust, basically, or rotor speed did it need to have lift off the ground? So they'll have the calculations. Did it take 3,000 RPMs, 2,800 RPMs, whatever it might have taken to get lift? They'll know that right off the bat. And they can basically program it what they want it to do, and off it goes. I mean, come on. It's really not super complicated as that. So to them, what they're saying, for future endeavors, they want to see if it'll, the first machine that can take flight, see if it can do it. So it kind of makes sense that way. Trying to think here. I don't think it's just there just for testing. It's there to see a whole lot more, and go over, like I was showing in the video where I said, I don't think it's just so much for height for this helicopter to get into. I think it's for areas that are really wide, so this thing can fly over it. It doesn't have to fly very high, and just go over the stuff, scan it, take photos, whatever it needs to do. Just hover, take photos. Yeah. I think it's already been active, I'll be honest with you guys. Now, it's pure speculation because I can't back that claim, but it's just the way they're doing some of these shoddy photos, if you will, and how they're censoring them. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Let's see how far we had to go back here. Yeah, Glenn Marsh, what's going on, Glenn? Olin Creel's in there. Yeah, that's what I thought. This thing jumped at me. I just said, I'm almost positive I probably missed more people. Equalizer, what's going on? Equalizer in the house. Smash the like button, he says. Smash it now. Oh, yeah. Okay. I went back far enough where I seen Addison's comment about Tyler, basically. Renee Vaughn, you said, I'm fine. Chris, tough times, but I'm a fighter. There you go. That's all that matters. That old saying, and just make you stronger, right? Whitebeard Sky Daddy, what's going on? You say, hey, guys, missed you. Glad I made it to the Hangout. Well, we're glad you're here, too, there, Whitebeard. It's been a while since I've seen you there. I'm going to drop it all the way down to the bottom. So, guys, if you threw a comment or a question, just go ahead and do it again because I want to get down to the bottom here. Gary Morgan's in there. I think I said hi to Gary. I'm not sure if I did or not. There's so many names in here. We just want to make sure we don't miss anybody. Anita M's in there. What's going on, Anita? Long Island, New York is in there. What's going on, Long Island? Good to see you there. He says, such a beautiful day out. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys. We've been like hitting like 80 degrees here. It's been awesome. Now, today was cooler. It was, I think right now, currently at 5:23 p.m., it's 71 degrees. And they're saying, well, at least according to my little weather station, they say the dew point's going to be like 51. So that'll be pretty much the low. It usually bottoms out around wherever the dew point is. So that's awesome. And even when it's cooler, people are still complaining. Oh, what happened to the 70 degrees? Like I woke up this morning, went to work. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. It was just before 6. And heck, it was still 64 degrees out. I'm like, sweet. So I'm not going to complain. If it's a little cooler one day, like 50s, it could be 20s or it could be 5 and snowing. So yeah, we won't complain about that. Darren Felagon, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right. Please forgive me if I'm not. So good evening, Chris. Greetings from Brazil. What's going on, Darren? Good to see you in there. Hope everything's well over there in Brazil. Probably nice and warm over there, too, I would imagine. Let's see, Warren, you said I saw an amazing book from KGB about different species, I guess. Looks legit, too. Not like the sounds of the Rover. Yeah, you got that right. It's amazing how the other countries are willing to at least pretty much divulge almost everything. Now, I'm sure they're not divulging everything, but I like the way they can do that. And even from, trying to remember, it wasn't, where's it? The Mexican government. They don't have any problems sharing the UFOs and stuff like that. Why is the United States and a lot of the other countries so hell-bent in keeping it secret? But I think because it's kind of attached to, if they say how deep they're involved, you go, okay, so if let's say the connection's huge. In other words, they pretty much know where there's other civilizations out there. I mean, literally can pinpoint them and they know. Or they've gotten to the depth where they tell you, yeah, we've even communicated with them. In other words, they actually admit it. You know, you can't help but to say, okay, everything else is just, it's gravy. In other words, yeah, so what we're seeing on the moon, they're well aware of it. What they're looking for on Mars is, it just all falls into place, right? It kind of like, there'd be no way around it. It's just basically just open up the can of worms so everybody can see it. Let the cat out of the bag. Let it all be known. And I think that's the case. And this is right, so they're like, shh. They're like not saying anything. Tommy P's in there. What's going on there, Tommy? Good to see you in there. Elaine Millard's in there. Elaine Millard says earlier than expected, missed 30 minutes. Oh, well, I'm sort of here. I will be back in a moment. I'm getting the cats their supper. Hello, everyone. Oh, it's good to see you in here, Elaine. No, you're fine. In fact, I put it on. I'm going to try to put it on like 10 minutes prior to getting on live so everybody can kind of chat with each other, say what's going on, and, just say hello to each other and all that other stuff. James Cragen, what's going on, James? Good to see you in there. Les Sweet's in there. What's going on, Les? John Shop's in there. Hello, old bean. Let's see. Chorus has got another account on my other phone, too. 2 likes from me. Hey, awesome. Appreciate that, Chorus. Okay. Like I said, you'll literally get down to a spot where you kind of like, you're scrolling and suddenly it doesn't seem like it scrolls. All of a sudden, it just blink of an eye. It's just going. You go, what did I just miss? You literally have to scroll back up. Scott White, what's going on? Good to see you in there, Scott. He said, hi, Chris. Long Island, New York. He said, do you think Elon knows about aliens? He the way he talks is that there's no real proof of it, right? I find it hard to believe. Not with a guy with an outlook the way he does and wanting to be spacefaring and everything else. Like I seen him on an interview where he says, yeah, I don't really think they've come here. So what they try to do is they say, well, what about the Tic Tac UFO and the other one? You got the West Coast and the East Coast, and what about all this? And he just kind of looked and went, but he didn't really get really super into it. He just kind of like he didn't really believe it so much. I'm thinking, why? Why would you not? I mean, I'm not even into the space program. I'm not a CEO of anything, and I can tell you there's probably a lot more civilizations than we can ever even imagine, and yet he's like, just not seeing it. I think he knows a lot more. And here's the thing. He's so affiliated with, well, he's a lot more closer to the public than probably the CEO of like NASA or even the top cheese in NASA. So, I think it would be like people would be haunting him if he even said, yeah, I believe there is. Think about it. I mean, they might be really all over him. I don't know. But I think he does. I'll be truthful with you, Long Island. I think he does. Paul Cargo says, Rich at Goofon was really impressed with your work. Yeah, I've checked this video out. I'm trying to think if it was... No, it wasn't this week either. It was last week. And I get in there, and every now and then I like to hear us talking, and sometimes he has other people on with him or talks about different things. It seems to be a good guy. I mean, seems like I think he even asked me to interview one time. I'm not entirely sure, but I think he did. I wouldn't mind getting together with him because he covers a range of things, to be truthful with you. And, when I was watching him, I said, yeah, he seems like a pretty decent guy, But, yeah, I mean, I think he's just starting out himself. I don't think the channel's very big, but still, I mean, I like his work and the discussions that he has. Nothing wrong with that. We all start off small, Ricardo says, sorry, just remember to click thumbs up. I appreciate it, Ricardo. As always, just shows the support. That's all there is to it. You know what I mean? Less sweet at 30 degrees Fahrenheit and snowing. Ooh, man, that's not good. Oh, let me see. No, let me see. Yeah, maybe you said it's like he knows something. Mm-hmm. Juan Penrite, Elon's telling Porky Pies. Yeah, I mean, come on. Here's a guy that's like heavily into this. Again, you're being subcontracted through it, working alongside NASA, JPL, and all this other stuff, and you can't tell me he's not aware of this. And here's the thing. He's building these capsules to take supplies to the space station. That he's helped bring these astronauts to the space station. He's had his spaceship to the space station. You're telling me he doesn't have his own cameras on there? You're telling me he doesn't... the astronauts are not saying, the ones that taking a flight in a spacecraft. He's probably saying, guys, you see anything? Just go ahead and record it. Whatever. Come on. It's like I said, I showed you guys that audio clip with the Soyuz capsule, or at least that part on the International Space Station where the female astronaut, is that a space? So you must see that quite often out in the ISS, the space station, right? So there's no way he can't be aware of what's out in space. I mean, come on. That's why I think it's a bunch of bogus crap. I like Elon. He's like one of my heroes. I love the idea that he's an entrepreneur. He's very brilliant, the whole nine yards. But again, he's not just going to say, yeah, I totally believe it. In fact, when we were out there in space, we seen a couple UFO. Come on. He's going to be hounded because he's more of a public figure than a lot of these other guys, right? Let me get some of that Subway. Oh, yeah. All right. Leslie said, Chris, the Rover squeaked a lot in strange noises like cracks and faint whispers. Very strange. It sounded like the Rover needed oil can. You're right about that. Even the new one. And guys, this is what's weird. I don't know if you ever watched lately. I think it was the beginning of the week where they were talking about. They literally had a live show. It was like a Q&A. So newspaper places, news channels, people like space.com were in there, all these. But anyway, it was funny because they were asking, they mentioned something about the technology that's on the Perseverance rover has got more than every mission combined since we've been out there. Now, you say to yourself, well, it doesn't say much for like the 50s and the 60s because they were like really kind of crude. Not all of it was. I mean, they could tell remote sensing. They had, they could tell when they had a fire on one of the Apollo missions. They knew it while it started, and then, of course, the astronauts were telling them what was going on, blow by blow, so they knew what was going on. So they had more technology than you think. Although it was simple as far as, like I said, the astronauts wanted to do a little yaw and roll. They could hit a couple, like, momentary switches or hit a toggle. It was pretty much simple, right? And then, of course, they had they had a computer, if you want to call it that, but it was a lot more advanced than what you would have had back in the day, right? So, it's a whole lot better than they are today. Well, when I say today, if you were to go back then, the computers back then, what they had was a lot more than the public would ever have. Because a computer, what you have, well, here's a good idea. Whatever's in your iPhone, right? It was like, to get that computer power back then, it'd be like 3 roomfuls of right here, 3 rooms worth of computing power, at least that. And they'd be absolutely gigantic, right? So, yeah. But still, we still had the missions going out into space. The Juno spacecraft, all these other spacecrafts are going to Pluto, out of the solar system. Now it's exosolar system. We've got so many crafts that went out there. They got to do a lot of computing. They got transmitters giving information back, whether it's images or whatever it may be, right? That's it, and yet combined, we're even talking about the Curiosity rover. We're talking about the other Opportunity, Spare rover. We're talking about Sojourner. We're talking about the landers. We're talking about all of this. All of it combined, it doesn't come close to the technology in these things. And so the guy asked him again. He said, I'm just kind of curious. I'd like to reiterate. He said, did you say about the technology? He said, yes. And the other thing is, too, I don't know if you guys have watched this, but they were talking about how they actually can forecast the weather on Mars. I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. You can forecast that? And that's another thing the guy asked. He said, did you say you could forecast that? He said, yes, because we have to know when's going to be a good time to fly the helicopter, this, that, and I'm going, really? Just to fly a simple helicopter? Like, you guys don't know the temperature, the wind, and all that other stuff on the surface because the rovers have their own weather stations on them. And you don't know that just through the rover. Yeah. Something doesn't make any sense. As high-tech as these guys are, you're just like they expect the public to swallow all that, and I don't believe that. Let's see. What was that question? Just went by here. Let's see. Oh, go hard. Didn't see you in there. Good evening to you, or good morning, depending on the time zone you're in. What was the other one? It just jumped on me here. Let me see. I don't know where it went now. It jumped. Somebody's. Oh, where did it go? Darren, your question was, Chris, are you going to show us some material today? Oh, yeah, we're going to touch on the video I just did to show the wheel marks again, because some of the people seem to think that, all these marks and the sand is just the rover kind of just turning around and just kind of dancing. No, it wouldn't do that. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't go to an object or someplace in the dirt and make a nice turn around. It's not just going to sit there and dance and right in the middle after dropping the dust cover. It's not going to happen. Oh, there's 2 other thumbs down. Appreciate you guys being here. Oh, yeah. Any interactions, all good. It's all good. Let's see. Yes, as we talked about earlier, Secure Team is back. Tyler is back. Well, I mean, MG Toe, you said Secure Team is a con. I mean, I look at it this way. Like I said, he's been caught in lies where he's fabricated some stuff. Let's just put it this way. Audio recordings made it sound like he's interviewing somebody, and they found out it wasn't, somebody else. It was actually him. It is what it is. He's done some real bad stuff too, with his relationship and everything else. He just had the operation. I have a feeling now you're going to see a whole different side to Tyler. In other words, he's probably thinking, man, if these people take me back, I'll be thrilled. And he's going to try to fly in basically the straight and narrow. And like I said, everybody deserves a second chance. And I think he should. That's the way I feel about it, right? And I told people before, I said, even at the very least, it's still entertainment no matter what. And to me, that's a good thing. People need more outlets. I'm hoping he doesn't drum up anything that's, basically either CGI or doing something wrong again. I'm hoping that he just tries to go in a straight and narrow and stuff like that. And like I said, I think he deserves a second chance. I don't approve of a lot of stuff he did in the past. It is what it is. Now it's people's choice whether to say, yeah, okay, we'll let it go, or say, nope, I'm done with him. Have a nice day. And that's basically it comes down to the people, right? So. Mags, what's going on? Good to see you in there. You said if Elon doesn't take the vaccine, he won't get on his first flight, space flight rather, without a COVID passport. He's going to lose out. Yeah, I mean, like I said, yeah, Elon said he's just not going to take it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are just like that. They just don't care to. Thank you, Mr. James Cragen, for your support. Always appreciated, my man. He said, Chris, I asked SETI Institute during the live chat if he could see the real pictures, and he didn't take it nicely. My answer was more fake pics. Well, you didn't expect the real thing, did you? That's not going to happen. Yeah, I mean, and, talking about SETI and stuff like that, when they're saying we're looking for, like, a signal, like from another civilization, I find it hard to believe they haven't found it yet. I really do. And that NASA, well, they just put it recently into public that they're going to be using laser communications. I have a feeling they've been doing that a long time now. And even if they were not, it doesn't matter because they're doing it now. So if you're building a transmitter that is laser, and see, we do it through fiber optics here on Earth, but if you're doing it, and I'm almost positive the military does it as well. So if you got a transmitter, you have to have a receiver. So is it possible they're not just listening to standard radio waves anymore, where they're listening to 4 gig or wherever, different frequencies, because they're listening to multi-thousands of frequencies at once, right? Now they're going to start listening with laser receivers. So now you can almost bet they're going to see or hear, they'll start hearing more and more of these. I have a feeling they've heard it. What's your take on that, guys? Do you believe that they have already heard? Now, we've heard things about before back in the past where there was there was a wow signal. There was what sounded like people actually talking, said we did this to us and to ourselves and this and that, and it was like kind of broken up, and then they never heard the signal again. Now, I'm not sure if that was, I'm 50-50 on the fence whether that was genuine or it wasn't. But if it was, then clearly there's other people out there. Now, I don't know. I don't remember what it was, all the details about it. But you can bet they've heard it. They've heard signals out there. And like I said, we got them, what was it, the FRBs, I think it was, the radio burst and stuff like that, fast radio burst. And, they're getting from all different, areas in the solar system. Well, not in the solar system, but in the universe, in the galaxies, and all this other stuff. So that's telling me this. Now they will tell you it's quasars and all different, basically the universe stretching and growing, and there's planets and solar systems crashing into each other. You got black holes and sounds of other planets, and I mean the list goes on and on and on, right? But you know as well as I do. I mean, the way he said it was like, oh, we going over here. It's like 44 million light years away, and this one here is like 30, light years, 30 million. He goes, so that can't possibly be like alien. What? And I've said that before. How does that even make sense? It's like here, if you're talking on radio. Well, I've got a radio because I'm transmitting from this area, and I can do that. I got it on the bench here. So if one of you guys, could be Goathard, could be Mimi, could be any one of you people out there, said, well, I'm on a radio over here. Well, they don't exist because they're in that area. What the hell does that even mean? It could be just communications, quantum communications, laser communications. And like I said, I used a term like an analogy. It's like the galactic newspaper, and it gets the news all the way around the area. The people who are, technologically advanced can simply get this. Just a flash of light, and all that flash of light is like all kinds of information, right? Just because we can't do it doesn't mean it's far-fetched. I mean, come on. Let's see. Mimi reacts. She said, Chris, do you think that one day NASA will build a rover that can climb the buttes? Yeah, they'll have something like Boston Robotics. In fact, I think they were actually, if I'm not mistaken, they had some sort of, basically, I'm trying to remember exactly what they call it. But they were asking other companies if they would, come up with their own prototype. Because at some point they're going to do that, right? So... I'm surprised they haven't already done that. Besides a helicopter, I'm surprised they didn't send out like a Spot. Remember, like if you go to Boston Robotics and these other different companies that are out there, these things are so agile, and they got gyroscopes in them. Literally, the guy's kicking the darn thing, and it won't even fall over. It literally just kind of like if you pushed your dog or some kind of animal with 4 legs, it literally would just stumble, but it would catch its ground, and these things do that. It's crazy. So these things can easily hike up a butte. And how do we know they don't have like a small spot? They call one of them a spot. I think it's yellow. And it's compact. And I remember seeing a video where a guy actually got one just to show on his video where it's in this silver case. And it's completely retracted. Its arms literally go down flat with its body. And as soon as you take it out and you put it on the counter, it literally just extends itself. So why couldn't they do that? Could very easily do that, right? And I believe they will. Not a rover, but the actual robotics. Great question, Goathard. You said when they've been collecting ET stuff from crash retrieval since the 1940s, it is possible that they use some of the Apollo missions. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, here's the thing. And I've showed you guys in the last one where we were talking about these Nazi UFOs. Now, is it possible that it was one of the Nazi UFOs back in the 1940s, right? 1947. And it crashed, and we wanted to check out their technology, so we ripped it apart. Maybe it was something we built here on Earth. But it's still, let's just say every UFO we've ever seen has been from us, which we clearly know it's not been. But let's say it was. It's still equally exciting because we're building these things to be spacefaring. And I believe we achieved that a long time ago. I just find it hard to believe with all the propulsion systems that we have. And like I said, they've been working on ion drives, plasma drives, and this has been going on for years. This is not something like last week. This goes back years, like in the 80s and 70s. I find it hard to believe that they haven't perfected this thing so they couldn't just go to like Mars within a half hour. What's to obstruct it? There's no friction. So I just find it hard to believe that they couldn't get there in X amount of time. Let's say it takes 3 hours. Let's just throw a number. It's all hypothetical anyway. What if they could do that? Okay. So they're getting there a lot sooner, and I think they have already they probably actually already have, what's the word I want to use? That they've mastered it, if you will, right? I don't know about mastering, but you could bet by now, if they've been messing with it since the 70s, you could bet that they have, right? I mean, I don't know. I just don't believe that they've been messing around with these, rockets, the Atlas V's for X amount of years, and we've been so stagnant in it, but yet the technology around them has been exponential. So I just find it hard to believe that, oh, that's it, guys. That's all we're using is these simple rockets. It takes so long to get anywhere. I don't believe that. I think there's a whole lot more to it than that. And, of course, you guys can give me your take on it and tell me what you think. Bushcraft Survival, a Jack only. You said, what's done in the dark must come to light. Absolutely. I totally believe that. I thought about that, Tommy P. He said, Chris, your question was, when will you finally send your best of material to some of these media outlets? It could wake up some more people. You know what I thought about doing? Go right to Russia Today. They'd be most likely to actually air these than anything around here. I just believe that. It's almost like they just go, listen, we can't be bothered with this stuff here, but we'll have to just show the regular crap you see on the news, especially on the real big news networks, CNN and MSNBC, all of these other news channels, Fox and all that. They can't be bothered. It's all about politics and garbage and stuff like that. Some science stuff, yes, but I don't believe that's the whole case. You know what I'm saying? Thanks again, James. I do appreciate it. You said, Chris, as you said before, the SETI Institute are not telling us the whole truth. And the WOW signal got every bit of their attention big time. Yeah, and like I said, I don't believe that that's the only signal that they've ever heard. I don't believe that. There's too many planets out there to just be us. There's no way. And I'm trying to remember, did they find, I think they just said something about there was 3 large planets, like Jupiter-sized planets out in some place. I just read it briefly. In fact, we'll go to that because we get space news to talk about and stuff like that too. So they're seeing all kinds of things. They're searching big time. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand it's because of technology, right? You're able to do a whole lot more expansion, whether you're listening to the stars like SETI. You've got Hubble's. You've got different telescopes, James Webb. You've got all of these different telescopes out there. You know darn good and well that they're searching the skies. It's not just to say, wow, look how far we can see. I'm sure it's that too, because it's all about, it's scientific research, right? It makes sense. But there's more to it than that. If you could build a telescope that can see in different light waves, like, infrared and all different other different waves and wavelengths and different things like that, if they look at a certain planet and say, well, that doesn't look like it'd be that hard to get to with a probe, what are the compositions of the atmosphere? And they can tell that with spectrum analyzers that are on these telescopes. They know that. So, yeah, these guys are doing this big time. Again, if you knew there was something on the moon, and it's clearly there and it's not ours, that right off the bat, you're going to want to search everywhere now, because that's what I would do. If I was one of these space agencies that stumbled upon this years ago, and I look and I go, it's like, sir, we just found this on the moon, whether through the LROC or whether it's through a telescope, whatever it may be, and we're talking about very large telescopes that can see the surface pretty darn well. Either way, if they seen it and said, clearly that's not ours, and of course we send these Apollo missions and whatever else, whether it's regular landers, they see this stuff and they go, this is not ours. There's no way. These things could be absolutely, just huge spacecraft and structures. So right off the bat, they go, okay, that's not ours. So we need to keep looking elsewhere. So what's the next planet? Mars. What was the planet that was closest to Earth, meaning as far as Earth-wise, warmer temperatures, atmosphere, so on and so forth, Mars. So they go, if it's been on the moon, we can almost guarantee something was on Mars. That's what I would gather right off the bat. And so now we know that it's come true. I mean, just judging by these photos, right? Joe Matthew says TGIF. Absolutely. Robert Orr says, well, wormhole technology is probably already around, like the theory of curved space. Remember the Philadelphia? Yes. You know, like I said, man just does that. They want a tanker, right? I mean, if you had the technology to do that, right? You know, you see these guys all the time. They're building their own electric cars on YouTube. They're building. Now, it may not be as cool and exciting as what you see like Tesla doing. These other countries around the world building them because they have the funds to actually build and mold, you know, body panels and put these things together. The technology to make these things work. We don't. You know, if I went outside right now and built my own electric car, that'd be pretty sweet, right? Take an old golf cart even, rip it apart, and put something a lot better, more high-tech in it. It doesn't have to be a Tesla because you'd be popping wheels and kill yourself on it, but you would literally, that would be cool. You know, you could go down the street with, 60, 70 miles an hour with it, and, that'd be pretty sweet. But that would be the extent because I don't have the backing. But these other companies, come on. Yeah, they definitely got the technology and everything else. So, yeah, no doubt in my mind. What's going on, Six? Good to see you in there. I didn't even see you creep in. You must have just jumped in. Yep, Six is in there. Hello. He says, hello for those who of you who do not know yet. No, rather. I do not yet know. I'm sorry. It's good to meet you all. They call me Six. Please do. Yeah, Gordon, you're right. You said Kecksburg with the question marks. I think it was some kind of life pod. And you know what? It could very well be true. It could very well be. Yep. Even Ricardo says that. Yep, before Roswell. Christine Ingram's in there. What's going on there, Christine? Good to see you in there. Let me jump in here. Oh, I hate it when it does this. Good Lord, did it jump. I got to literally go back. Awakened Souls in there said, hey, yo, what's up, people? What's going on there, Awakened Souls? Pete Ferrero's in there. Blackbirds were designed in the 50s as a good example of advanced technology. Yes, and it wasn't until the 90s where they come out with it and made it public, declassified. And again, the Blackbird, the SR-71, absolutely awesome for its time. They said, you know what, we need something faster, stealthier. So you think they stopped there after building these things? And I forget, there was a handful of these things that they had made. It wasn't just one. But funny enough, it's like they're not going to go, yeah, let's just discontinue it and just be done with it. We're good. No, they're going to want to have it better, faster, like the TRB, like they wanted. I think they built that. Just so many different spacecrafts nowadays, guys. The technology must be ungodly. If you had that back in the 50s, what do they have now? Because, like I said, I mean, and they can retrofit any craft they want to make it go anywhere they want. Think about it. What's the difference between a regular rocket going to the moon or a retrofitted Blackbird SR-71? I mean, what difference is there other than add a couple different thrusters so you can, adjust the arm roll in different directions, and of course you get your propulsion in the back. Once you take off out of Earth's atmosphere, shut off the engines. You're already going on a trajectory. And if you wanted more propulsion, obviously throw on the engines, just go ion drive, plasma, whatever it may be. They can get there in record time. I mean, what would be the difference for the astronauts? If you can get them there in record time, you don't have to worry about muscle atrophy. You don't have to worry about different things that plague an astronaut that's been out there X amount of time, right? So as well as I do, they can retrofit one of these things. And like I said, in the cabin, they got atmospherics for the astronauts. They can get there, get it done. It's that simple. And if the gravity isn't that bad on Mars compared to Earth, just like the moon, they can literally land there and take back off. Just like I said about the shuttles, they got the doors and that was to build the ISS in orbit. Again, take the doors away. What I mean is make it solid that they don't open and just make it a giant tank. so they can come and go. I mean, how much fuel do you need once you get on a trajectory, even if it took you a few months to get there? You get there, you have plenty of fuel to come back, or you got to just take off the planet, just hit a trajectory. And then you need to, when coming back, to burn back into the atmosphere. You just need the fuel for that. How complicated would this be for these space agencies? What do you guys think about that? You think they could do it? You think they've been there? I know some of you guys are like talking about how, yeah, they definitely probably already been to Mars and everything else. Silverback 74 says, what about the Van Allen belt? Maybe they have to wait a certain time for the right window. But then again, with UFO technology, well, understand there's actually 2 belts on a normal, and it can get up to 3 belts during solar activity. So certain solar activities, you can actually get 3 Van Allen belts around Earth. Here's the thing. They can either go through the North Pole or towards the South Pole. They are thinner there. That's what people don't get. They go, Van Allen belts, they'll die and roast in it. No, that's not the case at all. They go through the thinnest parts up that direction, and they're only there for just X amount of time. It's like 10, 15 minutes. Once they're out of the Van Allen belts, they're fine. People want to say, they never went to the moon because of the Van Allens. No, that's not true. They know because they had, and I don't remember the crafts, maybe you guys will know off the top of your heads if you remember these, where they had the 2, and I think they were called like the Van Allens, whatever they were, the 2 spacecraft to actually map these Van Allen belts. So they know exactly where they are, where the heaviest of them are. And like I said, there's a third one that comes and goes depending on the solar activity, that they know when these things are, when they like, and I guess they base it on like they got the SOHO that's next to the sun. They can look at this thing and say, okay, they got coronal ejections. They know when it's, the sun's really active. Every 11 years, it's the most active, gets to its peak. So they know when they can do this. And come on. They get the science down like you would not believe, guys. They're not stupid here. But yeah, like you're saying, with the UFO technology, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't know. And if you're shielded too, you don't have to worry about it, This is the reason why they shield a lot of stuff with either like this gold film, or the components are encased in gold. It makes a great insulator. It's just, it's a very good conductor, but it can also be used the way they use it. Can be like the solar radiation, it can be block it out. So, yeah. Tony Gibbs, what's going on? You said it would be a serious coup to get any coverage of what they are covering up without coming off as conspiracy nuts. True. Jay McGuffey said that the U.S. is going to be competing with Russia and China soon, so space forces will have to cooperate or it will get crazy. Yeah, well, I think, like I said, basically the black ops or the higher ups in every one of these space agencies, they're all working together. They are. So, and if they're doing it for, I'm going to use the term loosely, for the good, because we know anytime technology, you say, can we make a weapon out of this before we make something really nice out of it? Yeah, let's go with the weapon part first, because it's technology, right? So, to me, it would make sense that they'd have to work together. And, Russia's already gone to Mars as well. China, all of these countries are either gone or going. One of the two. So they're all working together because, one of them would snitch on the other. But these guys are above their governments. They're just above them. So when the president says, hey, I'm the man in charge here. I want to know what's up. I want to know what's going on. I need all full disclosure. They're going, please, you're nothing but a PR puppet. We don't answer to you. And you could bet they don't. But you're right about that, because can you imagine one of these guys became disgruntled and just spilled it all to the world? That would be pretty interesting. Of course, I'm sure they got this treaty amongst themselves never to ever do that, but who knows, right? Lion Hot Glassworks says, hit the like button. I say tap it, hit it good. You're right there, Gordon. XD, and you said the aliens will not allow war in space. Like I was just talking about a space treaty or a treaty. They have a space treaty not to bring, warheads and weapons out in space. Now, have they? Don't know. They do have a space force, and it is being set up for space. So it's kind of vague as far as details, right? Because when you say space force, wouldn't you need some kind of weaponry out in space to either A, like they would say, oh, wait a minute, here comes a comment. Let's go ahead and blow that to oblivion. Is that what they're going to do? Or is it designed for something much more, like maybe some attack in the future? Who knows? Pure speculation, not saying it right outright, but that doesn't mean they're not. They claim it's to, we'll have some people are saying war will be out in space now, it won't be on Earth. What's the difference? I mean, you won't be killing anybody out in space, at least and not in a strict sense, because the radiation will be out in space. But that doesn't mean it won't fall back to Earth, right? So it's just wrong, period. Get together as a human race so we can progress in the being spacefaring and all that other good stuff. That just makes more sense to me, right? Jay McGuffey says, can't wait for Webb. Yeah, and they've been delaying that thing for the last 2 or 3 years? Come on. But it would be the most sophisticated out there. Even though, how many years ago was it they did the upgrade to the Hubble? It's been quite a few years. I know because they had the, I'm trying to remember, the main motherboard was starting to go, a little quirky. So they decided to upgrade it, plus other sensors on there. It might have been the spectrum analyzer and stuff like that, where they upgraded the optics and everything else. So they're making these things better and better and better, guys, Great question, Silverback74. You said, what if you had access to a space telescope? What's the first thing that you'd do? I'd look at Mars. I'd look at the moon. Now, they claim, back in the day, they were saying, well, the Hubble can't look at the moon. It's just too close. BS. You could bet it's got technology to, like look at the Earth, look everything down to Earth, and see a fly on your car. You can almost bet on that. So they could probably look at unprecedented detail on the moon as well as Mars. The first thing I would have done, putting the Hubble out in space, was to look at every planet in our solar system with great detail. And that's probably what they've done. Then they say, okay, now that we've looked at every planet, we know what this planet has, maybe had ancient life, and it could be anything just organics. It doesn't have to be anything of any civilization, right? This one had it. This moon looks promising, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. So, and then they say, okay, turn it out into space, let's do the job. And that was pretty much it. You could bet they've already, looked at every planet, and that's probably what I would have done too, right? Riccardo Petrazzi, he said, if you study the footage that exists of the Apollo lunar module ascent stage, when it takes off from the lunar surface, it seems to lift off in a manner not consistent with the use of rockets. I'm almost positive, I could be wrong on this, Ricardo. I believe it was like an explosion type thing. It was kind of like picture like an airbag. And I'm not saying that's what it is, but it's just like poof, and it just exploded just to get it off, so it wouldn't burn all the fuel taking off. Not that it would probably burn a whole lot because there's no gravity, well, compared to space. compared to the Earth. But anyway, it takes off, and you can see it looked like an explosion, like poof, and then it just took off, right? And it seemed to me I read that somewhere that it had something similar to that, like it had like some kind of explosive type thing. So you'd have to look at that again, because you didn't really see any thrust, right? So it did have that weird look to it. Metalhead says, I'm back. What's going on? I'm a little behind here. Charlene, you said, sorry I'm late. Hi, everyone. I'm going to jump down here and go down to the bottom here because I'm getting behind you guys a little. Well, of course, a lot of you guys are going back and forth, too. So thank you very, very much, Charlene. I do appreciate that. Got the thank you on there. A little, I guess it's a kitten doing that. That was nice of you. Thank you for the support. I do appreciate it. I love some of these things they come up with, these little pictures on there. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a good way to put it, Mimi. You said, I guess the other civilizations are watching us very closely. We're only accepted as one of them if we behave. And it sounds like a child kind of thing, but if you were, what's the word we can use? And I've said this before. If you're technologically advanced, you've progressed so far, maybe warring's not even in your vocabulary anymore because you've been past all that. It's like so millennial ago. Then you would look at us and go, barbarians. So yeah, in a sense, you're right. They'd be looking at us like, we don't want nothing to do with them people. Maybe we could talk to the higher-ups on there. Maybe we could do that, but we don't want nothing to do with the people. Although they're flying around in our planet, in our skies, so... But that doesn't mean they're coming down talking to people, right? Unless, of course, you were abducted. But, yeah, interesting. You know, that's probably what they'd be saying. If you guys can just get up to a civilization where you consider each of you equal, and as a human race instead of, white, black, brown, whatever, and you come together as a human race, maybe you'll be accepted. Until then, sorry, your governments are dividing and conquering you. Sorry. So, I mean, MG Toey said, what is the Space Force going to fly? Well, you can bet they're going to have like regular spacecraft. But I think it's going to be more like satellites with like weapons on it, and they'll be out in space, right? And of course, we'll, make sure that they stay in orbit and everything else. Of course, they got their own way to do it. They can stay up there themselves. And of course, going 17.5 thousand miles per hour, 17 and a half roughly miles per hour, you can, basically stay up in orbit. But they'll have other satellites up there, and you can bet they're weaponized. Now, again, they claim, it's just for, other countries to protect ourselves and everything else. Or some of them have said, well, it's in case any rocks come our way, we can actually shoot them out. I don't know what kind of, it's either warheads. See, back in the 80s when they had Star Wars, they were talking about warheads. And even then, they were talking about perhaps lasers. And I remember this well because they were talking about this in the 80s. Lasers then. Because we've had lasers for how long? So this is not unheard of, right? Jay McGuffey said there was a vid on Impossible Channel from 19 showing a plasma cutter beam from space cutting into northern Turkish mountains may explain a lot of the ancient earthly structures. Well, yeah. So, I mean, again, and this is just what I was saying, Jay, about the 80s where they were talking about lasers back then on satellites. So, yeah. They definitely have the technology. You can bet it's out there. What's going on there, Mr. Bush Corey? Good to see you in there. I don't know if I even said hi to you, Jerry. Jerry Lahane's in there. Lone Villain Grows says, woo! Space talk and a bowl. Space talk, a bowl, some coffee, and a camel for the win. Hey, Chris, what's going on, Lone Villain? Good to see you in there. Goat Hot says anti-gravity has been mastered probably a long time ago, but it is all classified. Not even the President of the United States is supposed to know. Well, like I said, any of these leaders of other countries are just puppets. That's all they are. Just unless, of course, they've been there so long that they say, listen, I demand I be in on this, and I don't know how that even works. So, yeah. You could bet most of them are like, please, want nothing to do with you. Martin Penwright, you said that too. You said, yes, Chris, I agree about the new technology we have, and that's why I think Starship launches are CGI. Why would they waste all that money? Well, again, it's almost like they got to show, like, the public how they're progressing. So we are coming out with better rockets. We are doing this, doesn't it? But that doesn't mean, like I said, these black ops, these people that are so far above everything else, don't have technology to do much more than what, like, Elon's doing with a spaceship and other countries are trying to do with their new rockets and so on and so forth. You can bet they've been tampering and making other propulsions, like I said, ion, plasma, been doing all of that for years. So if you can perfect the engine or, whatever it may be that they're putting together, now we retrofit it into some kind of craft. What would be the best shape for a craft to go out in space? Okay, we'll build it this way. You just have to have rockets or propulsion to direct it in different areas. You have your lift and then forward propulsion or whatever propulsion all the way around, whether it's anti-gravitics or whatever it may be. Just you can go anywhere within seconds. So, well, within Earth. But this is the reason why they were talking about, remember the Tic Tac, where they were saying that, this thing was like traveling and, it was kind of like jerky, just moving in different ways. And they were trying to figure out, my God, look at the way this thing does it. How are these people not, if it's not a drone, how are these people not being plastered up against the walls and them things, or the pilot, and unless it's a drone. But if it's anti-gravitics, you're probably not feeling that. Kind of like the Star Trek thing you always see, right? Warp factor 12 or whatever, and it doesn't even faze them. So, yeah. Louis Longbeard, thank you very much for your support, sir. I do appreciate it. He said, great videos this week, Chris. Did you see the debris from SpaceX over Seattle? Look really cool. Hope you're doing well, lad. Get a Subway on me. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I did see that. That was just... And what was the other one, too? Was that the same one? No, it wasn't either. No, that one there was... Remember the other one they just had recently, too, was an airline. That was kind of crazy, too, where it was on the front lawn. But, yeah, they had the SpaceX crap going on. I mean, wow. Because... Have you guys seen it where they're scoffing at Elon, like, oh my God, look at the explosion and all this other crap and debris falling off this? And I went, but this is how we progress, guys. When they built the very first cars, do you think that they were perfected? No. Go back to the original electric cars back in 1893, 92. They didn't go very far at all. They were very, very crude. They made mistakes. The hand crank motors on these Model Ts. If you didn't do it right and that thing kicked back, you can break an arm. Was it perfected? Was the machine perfected? No. These things were they were in infancy stage, basically, right? We're going to have failures all the time. You want to progress, you're going to have failures. You're going to move, X amount of steps forward, you're going to have X amount of steps back. But you'll always get smarter and you'll learn as you go along. This is the reason why there's so many sensors on these spacecrafts, whether it's just simple rockets or whatever. They can tell, speed, pressure, the integrity of the craft. They can tell all of this. And so they're not stupid. I mean, so they learn from it. If it should explode on the launch pad, maybe just taking off, maybe out in wherever it may be, and it just explodes or has a mishap, they're aware of it. And they can tell exactly what happened, like when we had the explosion of the space shuttle. And they knew it was due to an O-ring. They figured out pressure leak. It was due to a silly O-ring, but that's what ended their lives, right? So, they're not stupid. These guys are pretty smart, but that's how you progress. You have failures too, right? Again, everyone, thank you for your support. You're awesome. Let's see. Yeah, I seen Christine Ingram is talking to Awakened Souls. He said aliens are not demons. They are living beings just from another planet. And I agree with Christine. I mean, I don't know why it is everybody thinks that they're like demons of some sort. That's like us going to another planet and them considering us demons, although at times we could be, right? But we're just other beings. So, I wouldn't consider us evil, although we're very warring and be very hateful and everything else. Yeah, we could be very evil at times and, we're just warmongers, right? So, but there's a lot of good in the world as well, right? So It doesn't mean you're like demons of some sort. Unless you go by like ancient texts where, these, men had come down and made it with the earth women and so on and so forth, the Nephilim and stuff like that. They were but some of them put them in a light where they could be evil kind of thing. And then some say, no, they weren't like that at all. It just depends on where you get your information from, right? Spot on there, Anita M. You said awakened souls. You're talking awakened souls. Your money and religion keeps us from evolving. That's a fact. It's all about repression. Keep you down. Fear. Control. Longbeard says, hey, chat. Let me jump all the way down to the bottom here. I don't want to be too far behind. Then we're going to get on with these some of the space news and show the other picture. First, we'll do the picture because people are kind of, like I said, commenting when I said this in the beginning of the chat, where they're talking about the wheel marks and how they believe that what we found there was just the rover going around in circles and maneuvering and just in that one area after dropping the debris shield, right? So, no. So we'll show that as well. Mr. Giuseppe, what's going on? Appreciate your support, man. I do. He said, love the channel, subs people, and love and peace to the aliens unless they are more intelligent than humans, that we are all in trouble. Or they're just evil in nature, right? Yeah, I mean, but if they are good from another civilization, good people, we'll call them people, aliens, if they are, of course they're more than welcome because they can help us progress, right? Because God knows we need an intervention on this planet. That would be something for me. How would you guys react if, like, you see it like in the movies, sometimes these aliens will like broadcast all over everybody's TV and radio, right? And it's just weird, but can you imagine if they ever done that where they said, they actually came out and said, listen, you are part of something much larger, and I've always said that, but they came out and they said, you are part of something much larger. You need to come together as a human race, and your world would open up. The universe would open up to you, and you'd see the wonders of what you're really part of. I don't think anybody here would be freaked out about that. I just don't believe that. I think everybody first of all, they probably crap themselves because there's something talking to them other than your own government. But after that, you'd be like, wow, so we're not alone. And our governments have been lying to us, but you'd want to know more. Some people, like I said, would be freaked out. I think the majority would not. And I just think that, well, again, yeah, some people would be freaked out. Not so many others. But I think I'd be wanting to know more. That's as simple as that. I'd be like, yeah, I mean, if there's a way you can communicate. But if they're just doing a statement kind of thing, saying you really, really need to get up with the times kind of thing, accept each other as human beings and not difference of people, accept each other as a human race and not, oh, he's that race or she's that race. No, you're all a human race. Once you've hurdled that, and you can get beyond the monetary state that you're in other words, become like a giant, I've said this before, like an Amish country kind of thing, where you always help each other out, you barter, you do this, that, and the other, and everybody just helps each other as a whole. Now you're ready to move on. But until then, if the government's going to continue to, basically, separate, have you warring against each other, whether it's countries or each other. That's what it is, divide and conquer. If we can just get all past that, and that's including the governments first because everybody else will follow, right? If you see less warring with other countries, so, wow, we're actually getting along with other countries, maybe we could do it on our own heart, and start doing that. Who knows, right? So, and then maybe you'd be accepted. So, I don't know. But it starts from every one of us, right? Again, Giuseppe, I appreciate your support, man. I really do. Thank you. Kish. I'm going to call you that for short. He said, I believe they are demons. Otherwise, why don't they come down on Earth and shake hands with us and introduce themselves to our people? Well, like I described earlier, if you were, a civilization's been long past warring, and anything that would separate your people, you've progressed that far, you'd go, oh my God. They'd look at our planet and say, listen, we've been through all this. We don't want no part of this. Maybe we'll talk to the higher-ups, the creme de la creme, or the elites, I should say. We'll do that, but as far as the rest of the planet, we don't care if they see us flying around in their skies. We're just not going to, just talk with them. And that's pretty much it. So, and that's pretty much would sum it up the answer to you. Because I wouldn't want to come down to a planet like this if we're just so much more friendlier. I'd be like, oh my God, yeah. I remember when we were like this thousands of years ago on our planet. We don't want no part of that. It's like trying to bring it back home to you. It's like, let's not do that. What's going on there, Mervyn Gravel? You said, hey, Chris, Merv from England. Great video earlier. That shield was so imposed on that picture. Yeah, I believe it is too. Again, it's just my opinion. I believe that looks so superimposed on that photo. And, especially when you start to see all the stuff that's around it, it makes no darn sense. But yeah, good to see you in there, Mervyn. Stephen Gurley's in there. What's going on, Stephen? I don't know if I said hi to you earlier. John Che's in there. He said maybe the technology itself operates in a Hubble separate. I'm sorry, in a bubble. I'm sorry. Let me make this bigger. I usually have this thing much bigger than this. Okay. Again, you said that maybe the technology itself operates in a bubble separate to our space, and so any beings inside would not be subject to our space laws. Well, that could be. Could very well be. James, you said, Chris, the Democratic or demons been brought into the UFO phenomenon started to become the thing as so religious groups started to fade. It was a great way to bring back the fear control factor. Yeah, I mean, anything that tries to keep you in line is control, right? Suppression. That's basically what it comes down to. Now, again, if you can surpass that and get past it, the better it would be, right? HDOS1AV, what's going on? He said, I'd be there up front. No doubt. Tony Gibbs, you said, think about the crap a lot of people watch. Reality TV. We are at least, we could be entertaining to other life forms. Oh, yeah. It's like Contact. Remember that in the beginning? And you can hear like all the different broadcasts from way out. It's like you can see it going from Earth and then going way out. You can see like, you can hear like radio broadcast and TV broadcast. And of course, they send the broadcast back with Hitler on the screen. And of course, there was actually a sub-frequency and it got a whole lot different information. Turned out to be the, what would they think it was, a Trojan horse kind of thing. And like, we build this thing and it's going to like a bunch of aliens are going to come out of it or, whatever. But turned out to be like a transportation device to basically go through wormholes, which is cool. So, yeah, I mean, they're looking at it going, oh, sad. I'm sure they can see, well, there's a lot of beauty in the world too. But when they see the warring part and just the evil acts that people do, they're just, oh my God, no thanks. That's a very good point, James. You said, Chris, when Egyptian Pharaoh Akhenaten told thousands of his followers that the gods they were trusting and following for years and years were no more, they didn't lose their minds. Why would we? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's sad that people actually freak out even more so today than they would maybe 10 years ago. And maybe that's not entirely true, but because you would think if you went back to 60s or 50s, even though we had space shows back then. But if you think about the ones back then, even back then, most of them were pretty evil. Unless, of course, you watched The Day the Earth Stood Still, where they basically said, even the new one, right? But even the original, where it talked about, basically, you guys are not ready. We're going to take the planet back, basically, because you guys don't own the planet. You're just basically, you're just living on it. So they were going to basically annihilate the planet and just start from scratch, just erase everything on it, which is including us and everything else. But just by showing love and compassion and everything else, and they decided not to do that. So, yeah. I don't know why. Why would they freak out, right? Why would we? Philosophers searching for extraterrestrials. So, Chris, that's why you guys say that governments are evil. Yeah, the governments are. Let's be honest, right? They're not for the people. Even if they're not evil, they're still doing the wrong things. They're not doing things for the people. And they should be. Natural Libre's in the house. What's going on, Libre? Good to see you in there. Oh, yeah, Charlene, yeah, I get that. You said, I'd rather not know some of the things people do. That's a fact. Goat Heart, you said, Chris, I totally agree. Control and suppression, that's what religion is being used for. Well, it's been like that for years, right? Do the right things. Don't. I understand. It's kind of like if a whole bunch of people landed on an island, okay, and let's say they were much younger. I don't know if you guys ever seen Lord of the Flies, right? You had to have some kind of structure. You had to have some kind of laws. You had to have so I get that, to keep people in control that way. Because you can imagine with no laws and nothing on the planet, it would be totally barbaric. You think it is now. Or some places would probably be better off without government. Because they would be like, I don't know if that's a true statement. You guys can tell me what you think. I don't know. That could go either or, right? Depending on the people and where you're at. But again, it depends on how you look at it. But to me, if you're going to use it to, like, say, don't do this, don't do that. And by the way, we'll reward you if you do the right thing all your life. You should be doing the right thing anyway, not because you're going to be rewarded, but because it's goodness in your heart, not because you're going to be rewarded. It's kind of like the Santa Claus thing. Remember that? Where you be good, or, Tommy, or, Sally. If you're good throughout the year, you can be rewarded, basically, in a nutshell, right? Think about it. So, do you really need to be rewarded, or should you just have kindness in your heart and just do right? That, to me, makes more sense. I'm not worried about the big prize at the end of life. I want to do right now. So just be kind. What's so hard about that, right? Bobby Pentland, thank you very much for your support, sir. It is always appreciated. He said, they're freaking out cause we are all the same, and they are all completely different. Yeah, sadly, you're right. I don't know, man. It's, like I said, it's all about divide and conquer on this planet, and it's about, who's higher on the pecking order here. It's all about who's got the most power. This is the reason why, if you're going to go to the moon and get technology off of it, or Mars, or wherever it may be, think about it. It's all about who's got the most toys, or the most powerful toys, right? And religion's no different. It's, it's not about toys or anything, but it's about keeping everybody in line. I get that to a certain degree. I'm okay with that. In other words, if you're a better person for, whether it's you read the Bible, whether you pray, simply just pray, whatever. If it makes you a better person, then awesome. But most people I've seen, not all, but most people I've seen are hypocritical. They say I go to church, but yet they're more evil than some of the people I know that don't go to church. So I don't know. It's just weirdness, Again, it starts here. It starts in your heart. If you're a good person in general, do you really need to be rewarded? You're just a good person in general. That's all there is to it. That's the way I look at it. Again, Bobby, thank you for your support. It is appreciated. Awakened Soldier said, Bill Gates wants to spray some crap in our sky to stop climate change. Is that man deluded? Um, no, I mean, they've been doing like altering the skies for years anyway, right? This is nothing out of the ordinary. You got chemtrails and you got contrails. Some people argue that there's no such thing as chemtrails when there clearly is. Contrails are nothing more than water particles, frozen water particles coming out of a jet engine, cooling, and that's what you see behind a jet. But you see as it goes along, when you see it like 5 inches away from that stream of particles, but it's probably a good half a mile away from there, and it's behind the jet, but it dissipates, where contrails do not. They spread out, and it blocks the sun. It does a lot of this. So it may be, in that sense, to stop certain heating of the planet, or they're just trying to regulate it. I don't know entirely, but they had the power to do this for years, right? I mean, crazy. I say let the planet do its thing. It's been around for millions of years, upon millions of years. I think it's okay. I really do. James, thank you again for your support, man. You said, Chris, I think if the world knew the honest truth, that in my opinion is the UFOs, ETs, have been watching, protecting mankind for years, I feel people would change any negative fears they have. What do you think? I truly agree with you. Because, again, just read the ancient text. Like the Egyptians. They had help from the watchers or seers from above to help them build the pyramids. So if these were evil or demonic, this wouldn't happen. They would have said, why don't we just go and kill all these people off and be done with it, because they're like a plague on this planet. Why didn't they do that years ago? It would have made more sense, right? So they said, well, the overseers is one of the terms they use. We had help from the overseers. Most of these religious people get this stuff from ancient texts. Most of the Bibles or these religious books are plagiarism from ancient texts. You'll see, like I said, one of the pharaohs, I believe was unnamed at the time. Like he said, I'm trying to think now, because it was one of those unnamed and one that was. And he said, while I was alive, I did not kill. While I was alive, I did not, I don't know if they used the term, it's like covet, so on and so forth. And what does it sound like? Part of the 10 Commandments, which incidentally, there's actually 330 commandments, truthfully, but it's the big 10 they want you to really bang into your head. But the thing is, it's about control, but it can be a good control, depending on how you look at it, because they want people to just be on the straight and narrow and be kind to each other. But it's also about, by the way, if you do wrong, in any way, in any sense of the word, you're going straight to hell. So it puts fear in you and kind of represses you and, or suppresses, depending on how you want to look at it. But, good example. If you got goodness in your heart and you're looking at your fellow person, a person would, here's a good question. I'll ask you guys, and I'm going to go right to the bottom so I can see your answers here. I don't care who you are. If you're a man or woman, you're walking through the cities, just going down a main road, you look down an alley, there's a woman or a child being raped. Do you A, say, oh, don't worry, God will pass judgment on him and he'll go straight to hell, I promise you, and keep walking? Or do you do something about it? You go in there and you kick the snot out of the guy or the person, the perp's doing it, or you make a quick phone call as fast as you can and try to stop it. You don't wait for a God, I don't care what country you're from or which one you believe in. You do not wait for that to happen. You immediately take action, because that's what you should do as a human being. That's the way I look at it. Where was that at again? That was pretty funny. Renee said, I'm a good person. They go to Catholic church on Sunday. I'm going to go to Palm Sunday this Sunday, nor said Easter next week. Call if I need to listen to my band Black Sabbath. Man. Exactly. 6. He said, F and kill the a-holes that are doing it. Absolutely, man. I mean, you don't stand by the go, well, don't worry, he'll be judged and go to hell. Are you serious right now? Really? Wow. Let me tell you something. If you are, any one of you, would stop that immediately, then you got better morals than the Bible does. Oh, let them judge. Let him judge. No, you immediately stop it. You don't wait. You stop it because it's wrong in so many levels, and the person who's doing the attack is an animal, and you shouldn't allow that to happen. There you go, Mimi. He said, no, sorry. He said, no, sorry, I'd get a stick and beat the crap out of the guy. Absolutely. You're on the phone. First of all, you kick the snot out of the person or try to get him off. If that doesn't work, you're on the phone at the same time. Whatever the case is, you do everything in your power to stop it. I don't care if you pick up a trash can and throw it at him, just to stop them from doing it. Now, don't get me wrong. Most people are like, well, I don't want to do that. I'll just record so this way I can show it to the police later. Really? That's what blows my mind today, too. You see something bad going on and people are standing there just recording it. Why not stop this? I seen a video where there was a cop chasing this man across the street because I don't know what he had done at the time, but they got in a brawl, and the other guy was getting the best of the cop. The guy was just standing there recording. I'm going, what is wrong with these people? I don't understand. I'd run over there and do my best to either kick the crap out of this guy and try to get him off him, because two people under one guy on the perp is going to be a lot stronger than one guy, right? It would make more sense to me. Anita M., it's sad that you said that, but I think you're right. He said, I'm pretty sure we failed the test since we're in the middle of a mass extinction. Well, if we keep on the path we're definitely going to be. Awakened Soldier said, Chris, if you have a human heart, you would react. Absolutely. I mean, it shouldn't even be a question. Think about that a minute. Why would there even be a question to that? You don't just go, I don't know, should I get involved? Your first instinct is to say, oh, buddy, what do you think you're doing? I mean, you'd stop it. It's as simple as that. I don't care how big a person is. You grab something, if you feel you cannot take a person, grab something you can and beat the crap out of them with it. I mean, at least try to. Giuseppe, thank you again for your support. I do appreciate you. You said, if your question is, if aliens see our crafts, will the aliens consider us as UFOs? Absolutely. Because you're unidentified. You don't belong to that planet. So clearly, you'd have to be alien, right? We would be the aliens. And if there is anybody still alive on Mars, whether it's be underground, above the surface, both, then they would consider us aliens or intruders, depending on how they see you or perceive you. But now, if they just see something that's rolling around on the surface of their planet, like our rovers, our landers are there, would they consider that an invasion? Or would it be just a curiosity thing? Forgive the pun, because of Curiosity Rover. But would they consider, maybe these people are just curious about our planet because maybe they've seen what they've seen on this planet. But you know as well as I do, if they had done the same to us, we'd probably try to blow the thing out of the sky. But how do we know? Has anybody ever heard, like, other than the Black Knight satellite, have you guys heard of anything else coming to this planet and roaming around? Perhaps that happened sometime in the past, and it's been, hush-hush. Who knows? Maybe some of these UFOs that crash here on the planet were probes of another civilization, and there was no beings in it. How do we know? Pure speculation, but we don't know that, right? Again, Giuseppe, thank you very much for your support. You said, if we need to be good because God says so, you're not really good. Being good should not be rewarded. Exactly. It's exactly what I was saying. If you're good in your heart, you're good in your heart. And good vibes are always going to bring people with good vibes towards you. You ever notice that? If you're around people who are just evil all the time and it just wears off onto you, you just have them bad vibes all the time, and then you start giving them off yourself, and you start... you're a product of your environment. I don't care if it's you growing up, wherever you are, or just the people that surround you. You have to get away from the negativity and move on. It's as simple as that. You got to try. Again, appreciate your support, man. And again, thank you again. You said, anyway, I am an equal opportunity offender. I like to defend equality and theocratic fascist. Offense is taken, not given. Oh, yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you. So, to me, I believe everybody's equal. Because, some people say, well, no, these people they're worse than other people. Them people, they're worse than other people. Are they really? Are they really? Because there's bad in every culture, every color, that's it. That's all there is to it. And then there's a lot of good and a lot of, whether it be, different color, different countries, whatever it may be. You're going to have good and bad in everybody, It's kind of like the yin and yang. You got good, but you'll have a little bit of bad in them, and the bad always has a little bit of good in them, and that's just it. Of course, there's a lot more to the yin and yang than that, but you get the idea. So yeah, to me, I'm the same way you are, Giuseppe. I believe the same way. I believe that, two words, stop it. Just stop. Everybody is equal as far as I'm concerned, and I've always been the kind of person, listen, you be good to me, you respect me, I reciprocate. It's as simple as that. And it has nothing to do with color, because I have friends that are all, different colors. I have Hispanic friends, I've got Asian friends, I've got black friends or African-American friends. I've got all of those, and I'm okay. They're great people. So I don't believe that certain person's bad, those group of people are bad. I don't believe that. I believe that's bad, and that's like that in every color. That's just the way it is, right? Six. Back after I attack a supper plate. Sweet. Charlene says that's called bad juju. Oh, yeah. James Cragen said, Chris, a few weeks ago, a group of lads were kicking the life out of a kid in the park in Ireland. But the worst thing was that 20 other dopes that were sticking their phones in the kids' faces to record it. This is what I'm talking about. What the hell have we become? Back in the day, don't get me wrong, if you had an issue with another person, I don't care if you're a man or woman, doesn't matter who it is, if there's two women fighting, they just had a problem with each other, they would explain it to each other that they're not happy with what they've done, and if it came to blows and you're throwing hands, then it is what it is. You punch each other's lights out or whatever you got to do, straighten it out, get it out, and then usually, like when I was in school, you had problems, you fought, and then 9 out of 10 times you became friends with the person after the fact. Now, and don't get me wrong, there'll be people trying to break them up. I don't care if you're at school, the teachers will try to pull them off each other. If you're at home and your siblings and you're fighting, your parents will try to break you up. Today, it's like, hey, wow, that's awesome. Get another kick in. I mean, what is going on with society? This is what I'm talking about. Are we, digressing? I mean, what's going on here? I mean, it's sad to be truthful with you. Silverback74 says it's the politicians and the 1% who are dividing us. All people basically want the same. But the governments are the ones that make everybody's lives miserable. What's going on, 786, Otto? It's good to see you there, man. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, Silverback. There's some people that just can't get along with other people. It's as simple as that, I knew a guy, and I don't know what was wrong with him, but he just hated everybody. I don't understand. Now, it might have been due to his upbringing, and life was just crap to him. There's very few people that could talk to him. I could talk to him. He was pretty cool. And I got a neighbor here. He's a Navy SEAL. He was a Navy SEAL for 13 years. And the guy, I mean, I swear to God, you'd come home sometimes, and he's literally out there just cleaning out his shotgun, his rifles, and everything else. And he could be in his boxers and stuff, just sitting there, just cleaning them. And you're looking at him like, is this guy about ready to go out and kill somebody? No. But he's the kind of guy, he's been in the service, very deadly guy, but literally you walk up to him and you do not want to walk up to him and introduce yourself and take your eyes away from his eyes. He demands respect. And I kind of get that because he was taught, and it was basically pounded in his skull, respect, on the other person. So when I was introduced to him for the very first time, even my other neighbor said, whatever you do, always look a person in the eye. I said, I always do when I meet somebody. I never go, yeah, just kind of like looking around. No, I went over to him, and we weren't more than, a foot away from each other, chest to chest, and I shook his hand. And he went by the name Froggy because he used to talk on the radio as well, he told me. So he went by Froggy, so I call him that now. But great guy. And whatever you do, if you're a young kid, don't ever wear a POW shirt or MIA. He will knock your head right off because he's thinking, he'll ask you, what's that on your shirt? And he'll say, well, it's POW, MIA. Really? Why would you have it at your age? And if you come out with something like truthful, like, well, my dad was, in the service, and he tell okay, I can appreciate that. If not, you don't want to be around him. That's not a good idea. He doesn't take too kindly to stuff like that. So, but the guy's completely deadly. I mean, the guy's a nut, but he's a great guy. He'd give the shirt off his back. That's what's crazy. But he also respects people, even though he's a walking death machine. He will kill you in seconds, but yet he respects people who respect him. And it's as simple as that. But, you got people, like you're saying, Silverback, that people are just miserable, period. And they just don't want to get along. And that's an issue. But like you said, the bigger issue is governments. Hell, they can't even get along with each other. Can you imagine if the governments today got along? Everybody they'd be like following by example. But no, can't do that. All right. Here's that picture we showed, guys. I'm not going to talk too much more about that other stuff, but that's not the one. Let's see. Let me look here. Here it is here. Now, I want to address the idea that people are talking about how the Rover was driving around in circles there. I don't know where they're coming up with that. But you can see from back here, I'll use the brighter one here. Back here, first of all, it ran over something here, and I showed that. First of all, it's coming up from this direction. Okay. Coming over to here. And then supposedly drop this cover down here. What is this right here? It looks like to be steel or something like that. Now, this is not to be confused with the other cover or dust cover or debris cover that they dropped prior that was completely thin. Do you remember that? And that's what housed all of the test tubes and everything else. So it's not to be confused with that. That's not that. So supposedly it rolled over these rocks just to drop the cover there, which I don't understand. You think it would find another smooth spot to dump that as well. But that's not really imperative. It's the helicopter that doesn't need to land on a rock and tip itself over, right? And I'm sure they could make the thing upright if they had to, but I can imagine that thing is pretty, I wouldn't say delicate to a certain degree, but I don't think that I would take the chance. So I can understand that. And then you don't see this thing, the way they call it is like, oh, things like just driving around aimlessly around this thing, and it was not. Come on. No, not true. And you can see the wheel marks supposedly just come straight out and just come down here. And I'm not going to be imperfect on there. I'm just trying to outline them. You can see where it come down and it turned to this position here. They're saying, oh, I don't see anything out of the ordinary here. Really? Because I'm looking at these here and I can actually say, yeah, those look like wheel marks, right? When you get there, there's no way that looks like wheel marks. This area here, these areas should look no different than this area, as you can see how close it is, and yet it immediately goes boom. And right about, I guess it starts right about here for this one. All of a sudden, they look like little railroad tracks with lines in them. Come on. You should not see that. You should just see thinner, darker areas, right? I think everybody would agree on that. And I don't know why they would think the Rover is going to sit there. They said, well, it's been there for a month. No, it has not. It's been on Mars for a month, but it actually, here's the thing. It lands, it comes out, it literally starts to set itself up, does its own diagnostics, moves the wheels, moves everything around, picks up the arm itself, the turret, moves everything around. It's doing all kinds of tests as it's moving and actuating and doing all things. It's sitting still, then it slowly moved forward. So now that they knew the thing was ready to go, they started to proceed, they started to move the Rover, and then, okay, we're going to now deploy the helicopter. We need to drop. First of all, I don't know why they dropped the other cover first. I forget why they said that. But the one that would house the tubes, dropped that first. Then they came over and they dropped this other debris cover, or shield, if you will. Dropped it there and then moved forward. Why would they think that people, why would anybody think for a moment that they're just going to sit there and go around this piece? Even here, it doesn't show it in the photo that they've done that. You don't see any wheel marks going around this thing. But there was a good observation a couple of you guys made. You can see what looks like almost like a square around this thing, which doesn't make any sense. But for whatever reason, it's like that. I think they probably did that just to block off what's there. Even the angle of this thing doesn't even look right on the ground because the ground's kind of like tilted down, right? And this thing looks like it's like facing, like the side's perfectly facing the camera, which doesn't even fit right. Like I said, guys, in my opinion, this rover's been on here before they showed the public that it was landing on the planet. I think it's been there longer than that. It might have been a month ago, a week or two ago, before showing the public, and I think it gave them time to do whatever they had to do with the helicopter and do all this crap, and they're now going to show the photos that were already taken in the past. Now, that's just my opinion, and it's just pure speculation because I can't prove that. But when you look at this, you just look at the photo, and it just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. Giuseppe said 5,000 years, we've had approximately 32,000 wars. Usually men and as humans never learn from history. We are hardwired for conflict. Blame evolution. Yeah, that's another sad thing. You're right about that. It's kind of like animals themselves, right? Here's a perfect example. Where I worked, there's a bunch of cats out back. And hell, these things could be kittens. They're already, it's in the DNA to just say, avoid anything that doesn't look like me or another cat. They automatically start to run away without even getting to learn who you are. Now, I go out there and I feed these things every day, and there's probably 13, 14 of these cats. So we just go out there and we feed them. And, of course, my boss goes kind of crazy about it. He's like, why are you feeding these things? Well, I said, when's the last time you've seen a mouse or a rodent around here? They're going, good point. Point taken. So, yeah. But don't we have the mindset to change, though, Giuseppe? Could we change that and turn that around? Because there's a lot of countries out there that don't war. They actually rate countries that are best places to live as far as less crime, just less things like that. Any kind of crime, there's a lot less of it. So can we not change? I believe we can. I've seen people that were really bad people and become, I want to use the term almost like a saint, and they just turn their life around, and they're just generally good people now. Now, could they resort back to being bad people? Sure. But what I've seen so far, no. They're just good people. So, again, thank you for your support. I do appreciate it. I'm going to go all the way back down here. Thomas, he said you should put a phone on your next Rover. Yeah, believe it or not, it'd probably take better photos. Well, we all know, I've described this before. These photos are probably absolutely pristine, crystal clear, and they just, like I said, they can probably have a computer, or either it takes two photos, like I said. It'll just, like, they could just change it. Maybe it does it automatically. It goes from, like, 1 meg photo to, like, 20 gig. I'm sorry, 20 meg. No, I was right the first time. So they can change resolutions, or size rather, size and then resolution on these photos anytime they want to, guys. And of course they're going to give you the crap photos, and then of course they're going to doctor them up and make them look like complete trash. If you're trying to hide something, it makes perfect sense to do that. Of course, we don't like to see that, but it is what it is, right? Yeah. But yeah, at this point, it looks like we can take better photos. Now, somebody did say, oh, well, you got to understand these cameras don't take photos as you and I would think. It's not like a regular camera. Listen, I don't care what technology they use in these cameras. How about just a standard RGB camera? That would make perfect sense to me. Even if you had this most highest tech camera you could possibly put on this thing, put a simple camera on there. Hell, we got cameras now that on these phones that have ungodly size photos you can take with them and crystal clear. So how in the hell, in with these missions now, they're taking or giving the public these crap photos? Come on. But again, these things weren't just, this thing wasn't just spinning around in circles and then rolling around this. No, that's not the case at all. And for some reason, people believe that. No. I mean, you can even see these are straight in line. Even if you don't believe these are real, they're still straight in line. But then what would cause that to do that? This inner piece, this round piece, right there. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, right? Jerry Lehane, you said landing square pad for helicopter. Well, it wouldn't be there because that's where they dropped the cover. So, and like I said on that video where it says it's, the helipad, it's really no helipad. They're just going to land this thing, wherever they want to. Now, I don't recall if they were going to use, and I don't think they did. Did they even say that, Jerry, about their first cover they dropped was for, like I said, you could actually see the tubes and everything exposed once that other cover dropped. I'm not sure they're going to use that as a landing pad. So if they're not using that, and clearly they're not going to use the cover, so they're going to have to find a smooth area, which they claim. That's what I read. They're going to simply find a smooth spot. Of course, open. It's already open because the cover's gone. It's going to now lower the actual helicopter. The other two legs are going to extend, and it's going to be just dropped to the surface, which is like, 6 inches, 8 inches tops. I think that's the reason why they made those legs so far out, so that even if it landed a little bit crooked, it would still land upright. So I think that's the reason why they did that. But that's what I've seen. That's what they've been telling us. Olin Creel, you said it's time to break from our violent heritage, pursue wonder. Yeah, just how about unite? Wouldn't that be cool? I know, it's kind of a little far-fetched in today's day and age, in this day and age itself. Ian, you said, what the heck is that box? That is the actual, like I said, that is the debris shield. What was in there? This was on the underbelly of the Rover, and inside it housed the helicopter. So once this is now dropped, now they're going to actually bring it down, and they're going to lower it. It's going to release it. It's going to land on the surface of Mars. And then the rover's then going to move backwards and clear it, and then they're going to start its testing. And it's supposed to be as early as this April coming up. So that'll be interesting to see, guys. I know you guys will be all over that too, so can't wait for that. Leslie, yeah, you said not seeing this. I must download it, etc. Yeah, I'll put the link in there after this, after the live feed, and I'm trying to remember if it was let me see. Yeah, this is South 31, but yeah, I'll put the link there too. And what's cool about it is, like I said, once you see what's in here, it just doesn't even look real. It really doesn't. Now, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that, and I questioned this in the video. I said, okay, if we were to come over here, now I don't know why it would, it's got its own navigation. I don't know why it would literally go all over these rocks just to drop the cover here in the middle of here. But let's say it did. Why would it try to roll over what's sitting here? This is the reason why I believe this is superimposed, and these so-called wheel marks are not even real. I don't even believe these are. Although I'm willing to accept that, I don't believe these are real either. How do we know that this thing just didn't back up to this area? Because it can do that too. And then look at it with the rear nav and has cams. How do we know that? And it just didn't take a look at the area and then move forward again. And that this is actually superimposed right here. It just backed up just to look at the stuff here. Because remember, it's got the robotic arm and it's got the camera, the high definition cameras. It could just look at everything there and then retract it and then pull forward again. How do we know? Noise Magician, you said, hi, Chris. You mentioned that the structures are not visible through telescopes, but most recently, P&K Space Imaging, there are a few visible clearly. See, I haven't seen, I know they've been looking for it too. I'm a big fan of them guys. Them guys are awesome. Best channel for any kind of moon coverage, by the way. Really, really good stuff. And I have seen things that were questionable, and things were on there. There's no doubt. And I might have seen the same live feed that you've seen. And, yeah, some of the things look very questionable. And this is done with what? It's only done with a 9-inch scope, I think. And, of course, they have the right equipment, the Barlows and everything else, and high-def cameras and everything else set up. They do a great job over there. But, yeah, I did see a couple things that did not look natural there. So, yeah. But they're pretty clear if you think about it, too. They're not, like, blobs on a screen and, this is a structure. You don't see any of that. This is, like, pretty darn clear stuff. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying it can't be seen at all. I'm just saying you got to have a really... First of all, you got to have a great day to do it, right? So you don't have haze. And, of course, you're going to have atmospheric distortions. You're going to have other things that could actually impede your sight through the telescope. And a lot of times they try to do it on the night. Of course, you've seen they've had clouds and stuff going in front of the camera/scope. So they do a really good job. And I have seen a couple things that were questionable on there myself. And they were quite large pieces because they weren't super zoomed, and yet you could still see them. So, yeah. Oh, it's not out of the question not to see it, that's for sure. And Habermas, he said, yeah, the cover definitely looks superimposed in that photo, in the image. It looks like it was dropped into Photoshop. Yeah, it's just weird. Now, I'm not saying it can't be, and it's out of the question. I believe it sure can be, but I don't know. It doesn't make sense when you see the marks, the wheel marks at this point from there, this line here, to this here. It doesn't make sense that the Rover would, well, actually you can see right here, this one starts going like, it looks like these weird railroad tracks as opposed to these other marks. Well, again, when I see this, I go, how do they do that? How do they drop that and run over these things, what we found in here? That doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. Pete Ferreira said, doesn't look like the pic CNN showed. Yeah, imagine that. It's weird how that differs, doesn't it? Isn't it just weird like that? Yes, guys, if you haven't hit the thumbs up, please do so. I do appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, just watching the live feed, just decided to watch it one day, make sure you're, please sub and hit the notification bell so you see all the new videos coming out. We got some cool stuff coming up. But don't forget to hit that thumbs up. We get 210 or something like that watching and 158 thumbs up. So, guys, if you don't mind, slam it. Robert Orr. A goes for reality. Maybe a Martian on its way to the baker in the morning. Who knows? It could be. I mean, Yeah, plot twist. Maybe this is actually like a little transportation device and it's not actually part of ours. No, I'm kidding. Just messing with you guys. Olin Creeley said, all wars are bankers' wars. Yeah, because here's the thing, guys. Like we have our own, right down to our own household, right? You're a mom and dad, your children under you as far as, you tell them what to do and give them some structure and some rules about the house and how to grow up and teach them. Well, there's got to be like a pyramidal kind of effect where there's somebody or some group at the very top of all this that literally owns the planet, right? And it's the elites and stuff like that. And the banks are a big part of that. They're the ones that control growth, your GDP and all this other good stuff, if I said that right. But anyway. You know what I'm saying, as far as financially wise, as far as worldwide. Without currency, the world doesn't work. It just doesn't, that's it. That's all there is to it, right? Without money, you're pretty much dead in the water. Charlene, NASA needs to get a life. Yeah, like I said, I love everything about NASA except for this. Except the covering up what they're really finding. And I think it's stopping growth, just human growth. Because if we were aware of this, and can you imagine when we totally enhanced this photo, I didn't see anything that was really scary there. So can you imagine if they were truthful right from the word go, and they showed this to us, we'd be like, wow, another interesting photo with these weird-looking things on this planet. Let me get rid of my picture here so we can see all the whole photo here. Because I'm going to move this around a bit. Let me see here. Whoop. Hopefully I'm going to mess that up. Probably did a little bit. We'll see what happens. But... yeah, so I just want to get this in the screen here. Here we go. So to me, it just seems like, some people say it's all wars, and to me, like I said, the bankers or the real owners of this planet is what changes everything, and what says without currency and resources, what do you do? You're pretty much dead in the water. Unless, of course, you live off-grid, which I'd love to do and just not pay anybody anything. Just do my own thing. But I've seen, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, but people who are literally living off-grid, collecting their own rainwater and filtering it and solar panels and everything else, the government's cracking down on them. Why? Leave these people alone. No, we got to get our hands in your pockets some way, somehow. I don't get it. It's like, you think they'd be going, good, more and more people are off the grid, this is great. No, it's about making money. And without that, this is the reason why there's a big struggle between, other alternative fuels for cars. They don't want you to deviate from oil because it's big business. That's what it's all about. Big business. That's what it comes down to. You stop depending on these OPEC countries and oil and everything else, what happens? There's money being lost. They don't want that. So they're going to shoot down the idea of any kind of other alternative fuel, whether it's electric cars, hydrogen, whatever it may be. They're going to frown on that, and they're going to be totally against it and say, oh, those are junk or whatever, when clearly they're not, right? Let me see what we got here. Yeah, you would think so too. That's a great observation, Mimi. You said that. You said the black box looks too big to be a debris cover. Yeah, because keep in mind it is a distance from the rover. Now the rover is pretty large. You can see it here. It's the top deck of it, the body. So you go, maybe that could be, because the rover is pretty big here. Now it would be a lot smaller over there. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's probably 20, 30 feet away from the rover, so that might be consistent with the size. It may not be. I don't know. What do you guys think? Jerry Lehane, you said, mention how you spotted the drone surveying before release of the Copter 2 weeks ago. Yep. James Bible, you said, a great video on a Mars rover. One can hope that NASA has a disgruntled employee and goes all Snowden on them. Of course, after that, they won't be anywhere for said person to hide. Oh, that's true. Yeah, you'd be bumped off. You'd have a horrible accident at some point. You can bet on it, or he or she. But yeah, absolutely, James. I believe that. Like I said, I like that saying. It goes all Snowden on them. We need more people like them. A lot of people, oh, he's evil. How is he evil? He's trying to show the evils of our governments. And of course, we want to arrest him. We want to basically bury him under the church or under the jails, or we'll put him anywhere we want to get rid of him. So, it just seems like, really? So somebody who's trying to bring out the truth, of course you want to suppress that because, everybody will see right through us and that won't be good. So, yeah. Peter Petrelli, you said, depending on old polluting fuels to enrich the 5%. That's pretty much it. Can you imagine if we went to an alternative fuel, and it doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it's hydrogen, if it's electric, hybrid. I don't care. Get away from these oil companies. The problem is they just go, you depend on us, so therefore, oh yeah, we're going to continue to make money off you. And I think that's so wrong. I think it's like, we need to get away from that and let them suffer. We don't need your oil, man. We really don't. But oil is, you got everything. It's like there's a lot of derivatives from it. You got plastics and everything else. So you'll never do completely away with it. But as far as fossil fuels or your fueling itself, you don't need that crap. Come on. You don't need that. There's so many other ways you can fuel something, right? Peter Petrelli said, imagine being charged for rainwater. Next, we will be charged for the air we breathe. Well, we actually are. You go to these air pumps to pump up your tires in your car. They charge $1, $1.50, 75 cents, whatever that is. It's oxygen, for crying out loud. But, I should say, in addition to that, there's actually a town, I'm going to guess it's about 10 miles away from me, and they actually charge $1 for rainwater that comes off your roof. I'm going, please tell me you guys are kidding. No, seriously. But that's what I was told. I went, no way. They said, yeah. So it's natural. It's coming from the sky, but you're going to charge me that. So how does that work? So every time it rains, they go, by the way, it's an extra $1. I don't get it. I'm totally dumbfounded. I still don't believe it, but I've asked more than one person. They say, no, it's true. I went, yeah, they should be shot in the face. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Olin Creel, you said you were talking to John Jay. Yes, we are their sheep. Pretty much. Louis Longbeard said that's why they're trying to crack down on Elon Musk for not paying tax. They want money, and that's it. Let me line my pockets. That's what it's all about. We don't care about the common folk. We don't care, and that's not right. John Shea, you said they're going to farm us until every resource is dead and buried, and then they might say, we made 0-point energy 100 years ago. Yeah, exactly. What would be wrong with something almost like what's on the Rover, right? It's got it's nuclear powered, but it is a hybrid too. It actually has lithium-ion batteries on board, so it gets charged by that decaying, I think it's plutonium, decaying basically nuclear power plant, and it charges the batteries, right? So they have to keep them warm and cold. They have to keep them warm in the cold, I should say, and then vice versa. So it's temperature controlled inside the body of this thing. It's everything is like meticulously done. Smartest instrument we've ever sent anywhere. But can you imagine having the kind of like power plant that's super safe? No matter what you do to it, you can run over it with a tractor and it wouldn't do anything. That would literally power everybody's home, and it would literally last for decades. I mean, without having to do anything. What would it do? Wouldn't it alleviate all of the stresses on the electric companies? I don't care if it's hydroelectric, nuclear. It doesn't matter what it is, how it's powered. Wouldn't it alleviate all that? And you wouldn't every household have its own little power plant. It would make more sense to me, although they're probably thinking, yeah, it's what we need is like 2 or 3 of these power plants going off, like it's exploding. But you can bet they can build it in a way where that wouldn't happen, right? You can, or other power plants that they can possibly come up with. You know that. I mean, yeah. Mervyn Gravel, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate it. I did get your comment on there. I don't know if that was on it was on the YouTube. He said, so I guess you figured it out. I was going to get back to you, and I guess you figured it out. Great channel, Chris. Love it. Again, thank you, Mervyn. I do appreciate it. Simo, you said, why are these images so low quality? Well, that's a good question. And it's funny how, like, if you look at the Rover, it just seems to be pretty darn good. And it's almost like the further you go out, it just looks like crap. Now, don't get me wrong. You're not going to have the fine details further out. That's just common sense, right? But it's almost like, again, it would be purely speculative, but it's almost like they superimposed the Rover and this box there. Because you go, well, how is the ground completely this color, but the Rover is not? So maybe it is actually there. And I do believe this particular picture is. But I've seen pictures where they look like they're superimposed at times, and that they make it like they're plopping in front of something they don't want you to see. Now, I don't believe that's all the photos, don't get me wrong. But I find it interesting how, like, this is all like this orangey color. Well, if you do this, if you go back to the original, get that real gold, dark color. Again, why are they doing this to the photo? It seems to be brightest right here. But anywhere else, nope, it's completely dark. Look at it. And you can see like the frame over here and the back. You can see that it's like almost looks like, well, it's not exactly high noon because you can see this right here. But I'll tell you what, for a planet that's that far away, it has some pretty good sunlight. I mean, really, really good sunlight, which I really find interesting. And it just happens to be super bright on the Rover, but not so much on the rest of the ground. So that's what makes me wonder, are they really jerking with these photos so everything's dark off in the distance, but yet the Rover's nice and bright? And like I said, that's why I automatically start to bring these up, these brighter photos, because I believe they're just definitely being toyed with and censored, right? Metalhead, you said it's a small city for small people. And it's a city for small people. And I thought of the same thing, but here's the thing. I wonder, and I said this in the video, again, why this bright area right here? I'm really confused how, if this is what doesn't make any sense, and I've always said this. Notice the instruments here, like this ball right here on the lower right, And you can see the shadow coming down directly onto the rover. So the sun is the sun is coming from the right of this photo up and over. Well, let's do it's coming like this. Let me just do it in a better color here, and a little bit thicker here. This way here we'll see it. So it's basically the sunlight's coming up, well, let me do it this way, it'd be better. It's coming down, it looks like from this angle, onto the rover. Okay, the sun's coming from that direction. Why is it got this weird brightness back here? Okay, I'm confused. Now I understand some people say, well, maybe it's the optics, but the sun's not showing any optics. It's off to the right of the camera, and it's the camera's completely turned away from it. Yet you can see the difference when we brought this up. Look at the difference here. It's like a gray, more of a purple here, to more of a realistic sand color. And yet we got this weirdness in the back here. I don't understand how that can happen unless maybe some of this in the back is completely centered out. And they put what looks like a ghostly looking mountain in the back. See it right there? And this is just like a template that's just dropping back there. And yet, who knows, whatever these things are on the ground right here, how do we know they're not part of something that, like I said in the video, how do we know that they're not just something small sitting inside something that's in the background in front of it? So, in other words, these are just kind of like stuff you'd have on your front lawn, right? It's just like, just stuff there, but your house is behind it. How do we know this is not doctored up in the back? And what we're seeing is just stuff that's sitting on the ground that's supposed to be in front of it or whatever, part of it. How do we know? Again, pure speculation, but I'm just saying, how do we know? The sunlight makes no sense at all. And the way this thing is showing, again, let's do this. You really don't see it too much. Now, you do see it right here. A little bit there. Now, I understand some of the lenses can do that. And you can see, because you can see the outer right here. You can see that, right? So that makes sense. But inside here, I'm a little confused. The sun is way back off and over here. And it's turned completely away from the sun. And yet we're getting that weird. Anybody figure that out? Anybody know what's up with that? Dale Rogers, what's going on? He said, we need to turn up the heat on NASA through Congress. We have a lot of proof of a cover-up. NASA's lies matter. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Mikey Gematria, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Pyramid Lake, Nevada looks eerily like... similar to that landscape in the photo. Well, a lot of places on Earth look that way, too. You got to remember, some people say, this is just Earth. I don't believe that's the case because it was a lot like, according to them anyway, this was basically in a lake bed. And it was very, very similar to Earth back millions of years ago, that it was a lot like here on Earth. Okay, and that wouldn't surprise me. We see a lot of stuff that looks just like we see here on Earth. Now, I don't know if all of this was done millions upon millions of years ago where everything disappeared. I'm not so sure that's true. That may be something that NASA's been feeding us and we're just going to believe that. I'm not sure that's the deal. I don't know. And I was trying to scroll down and thing jumped on me big time. Okay, there it is. Yeah, Olden Creel, you're right. He said NASA has a color chart, which is basically like a little sundial. I was going to say, I don't think it's in this photo here. I'm not seeing it. Nope, must be on the other side over here. On the other side of this. Right here on the left-hand side. I'm not seeing the sundial. And it does have color-coded blocks around it. I can see some of the instruments, we got the direct transmitting antenna right here. Got some other antennas and other instruments back here. The other one is actually over here, off left of the photo. You can see it'll be the UHF antenna there, omnidirectional, where this is more directional. This one has the X in it. So, yeah. Silverback, he said, you're right. The shadows on the ground and the shadows on the rover don't match. They don't. They absolutely don't. So it makes you wonder, okay, what's going on here? Because keep in mind, too, and this is a telltale sign. If we have, again, right here, because, again, it's a great point to make. We can see the shadow, again, with this test instrument, and we can see the shadow here. So it's not high noon because the shadow will be directly underneath this ball, and it is not. So we should be able to see the same thing on these rocks, right? We should see it. And yet it's almost high noon according to this one on the right. I mean, you can see it a little bit on this one, so that's not too bad, okay? But it looks like it's more behind this rock because the way it's coming more here, it shows more. This is the end of the rock, and yet it's showing the shadow more here than it is here, where it should be. Like, in other words, it should be coming out over here, and we're not seeing that. Now, this one in the back does, but most of this area has been messed with. So are they drawing in the shadows at times? Who knows? You see hardly any shadows. Now, I get the idea if they're a flat rock, clearly you're not going to see a shadow, right? It makes sense. But if there's bigger rocks there, you should see all kinds of shadows in it, and you don't. You don't see that. This one's under the rock. Okay, that makes sense, but why isn't it projecting it over here? Because it's been fooled with. Where's the one from this rock? You should see it a little bit right here. This one right here. You should see it. You don't see these. Where are the shadows at? Because there's been too much centering and manipulation in these photos, and this is the reason why you can't see any shadows on most of these. Charlene says, electric universe. Bam. Bushcraft, you said that maybe this bright area is a dome. Well, I mean, that's a possibility. Now, they'd be more apt to say, like I said, they would say something, well, because you can see like different layers of this. So, right here. So they may say it has something to do with the lens, and it could very well be. I'm not going to rule that out, of course. On the other side of the token, like I said, why is there light over there? I'm confused. Is it reflecting off something like you're saying, like a dome type thing? Why is it all bright over there and then the rest of the sky, oh, not so much sun? Why? It's almost like they're almost using like an infrared, because you can see the way that photo, it's even starting to be darker over here. You can see it right here on the left. It's like brightest and everything on this particular area. If the sun's shining on there, wouldn't it be light everywhere? I'm a little confused. So this is what I'm saying. You got to look for these things and these like you said earlier. Some of these you guys have said earlier. Look at the way the shadows don't add up. None of it adds up, and I agree. Andrew Munchkin says spotlight could very well be. You know, like I said, it could be more of an infrared or some kind of other light spectrum type thing that they're using with the camera. I don't know. Renee, you said I see a robot man shadow? I'm not so sure I see all that, but... Like I said, these are not done by wheel marks. Sorry. Brought it a little bit more. Straighten it out. Like I said, that doesn't mean that this is right as far as the lens correction. But again, I brought this out so we can see this. Again, this is not very far, guys. We'll literally walk over there and see all of this on the ground. So how big is this stuff? And well, first of all, what is it? Secondly, is it... And guys, if you could have a magnifier, go ahead and look at some of the stuff right here. This is just crazy, man. Some of the stuff. Just all of this stuff in here. This is not... When you see these shapes down here, it looks obviously intentionally made. It has a purpose. This is not just a misdirection of a rover just cruising around, just having... No, come on. There's no way you can possibly believe that if you... Like I told the one guy, I said, clearly you didn't watch the video because you're just spouting off just a, whatever, negative comment. Listen, you can do whatever you like, but no. It doesn't, yeah. They're not going to do that. It's purposely been made. This stuff is there. You can see stuff all in the background here. I didn't even tell you about this one here, this white piece in the back, which is kind of really odd. Let me just go back to it like this. Look at this white piece just up in there. And there was another one in the back I've seen, and I don't know if it was part of that at some point. No, I think it was this here. But if you look at it, it has this weird shape to it. Let me see if I can't bring this way down again because it'll be way too darn big. Almost has this weird shape at this end of this thing. It appears to be doing this. Looks like there's a double piece to it or something like that, but it's going down like this. It has this weird kind of... just... I don't know how to explain this thing. It's just really weird. See that thing? But whatever that thing is, and again, it looks so badly out of place, this thing. Oh, what is that? This cover. Again, it makes no sense. If these things are there, this thing's literally going to drive over them? No. I think it's, I don't think, at least in my opinion, I'm not saying everybody has to agree. I'm just saying in my opinion, it looks superimposed, and they literally stopped and turned around. They might have backed up to that area, looked it over with, like I said, get out the camera that's on the arm, the turret arm, and have a look at everything, and then just pulled away from it. And they just dropped that there to make it look at, oh, yeah, this is where we dropped this. This is the reason why we're in this area. We dropped the cover. Or were they looking at something much different? Again, I mean, I can see what looks like this circle piece right here. Because it's not complete circle. I didn't do it right. And then all of these other shapes in here. Dividing pieces. I mean, this is not made by wheel marks. This is something here that's been built. Like I said, this piece right here. I mean, there's so much to see in here. It's not even funny, man. But I explain a lot more in the video, so if you haven't seen the video, definitely want to check it out. Yeah, it almost looks like it is, Dale. It doesn't. He said box is floating. Well, it looks like it's it looks like it's on some kind of weird rock type thing right here. You can see it. Not sure if that's what that is, but right there. Again, why would it like go through all of this rocky area just to drop the box? If you could find a flat area, then, you know, for the helicopter, clearly you could find a flat spot to drop the cover. I find it hard to believe that you can't do that. But let's just roll all over these rocks. Let me just go like this, go back. Let's just run all over these rocks right here. Just keep going over them. Okay, we'll just jump all over them. And then finally we'll just drop this cover. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I know it won't be as important as the helicopter ground or surface they need to put on because they're dropping a cover. It's not a big deal, right? But I would imagine they don't want that thing to tilt when they drop it. They want it to be on as flat a surface as possible because if you imagine dropping that thing on a rock and somehow it was angled up and got caught on the belly of the rover. Because keep in mind, if I'm not mistaken, they dropped the first cover first. Can you imagine that thing getting wedged up in there somehow? That wouldn't be good. That would not be a good thing. H-Jaws 1AV, you said flatten smash pipes? Yeah, you could see a bunch of that. I mean, there's so much in there that, again, like I said, there's one here. Looks like it's sticking out of the ground. This one right here. Like I said, just use a magnifier on these guys and just look at the stuff, and you'll see little pieces in here, especially the white pieces in the back, like I said. Just weird stuff. And clearly this is not, you know, wheel marks or just weird, you know, just simple rocks and stuff. I mean, it's there. I mean, it's all there is to it. Oops. No, I'm trying to see. Leslie, you said something about I don't have a channel. Maybe in the future I need help. I'm physically disabled and just come out of the hospital. Been very ill. I'm very lucky. I'll send it to you, Chris. Yeah, when you get a chance, don't worry about it, Leslie. I mean, just, you know, get well and do what you got to do for yourself. And, you know, if you can send it, great. If not, don't sweat it. You know, I'd rather see you get better than have to worry about showing pictures. You know what I mean? You know, health first, man. Everything else. Family and health first. Everything else is secondary. I don't care if it's your job or whatever else. Everything else is secondary. Mimi reacts. I totally agree with you. You said, I wish we could see the original non-Photoshop pictures. Totally agree. Love to see it. Nice sarcasm there, Charlene. You said, they might accidentally show something truthful. God help us. Yeah, I wish they would, to be truthful. But, like I said, we can find this stuff through these photos. And somebody had just told me to check out, and you guys could do this too, Sol 22. But just this one, this Sol alone has got a bunch of stuff in here to see. Just this alone. So, yeah, check it out. Look at these other right down here on the bottom. Look at the shape of this. Are you telling me that's natural or done by the wheel marks? Look at the shape in here. And this is only at the very edge of this photo. Going like this here. Look at the actual panels. It looks like panels right here. Underneath this one piece going like this. You can see it coming out of the bottom, doing this. The shape of it, it's like it's cornered. It has this nice flow to it as far as these panels. There's something else right there, like these are skinnier here. But anyway, it goes off like this. There's other pieces here in the corner. I want to take these lines off so you can see this better. What? Seriously? Oh, yeah, those are wheel marks. You know, I'm delusional. My bad. Yeah, okay. This is how I know people, some of the sarcastic, you know, there was like 2 or 3 of them, maybe. I think it was 2. But they were being sarcastic. Oh, it's because the Rover was sitting there so long, it made its own wheel marks. Really? That's a wheel mark? Come on. Come on. Tell it to somebody else. Because even these here were not actual wheel marks. They're false. So that's how you know, right? Dale Rogers said NASA always had problems faking tire tracks. Yeah, these wheel marks here alone, they'll do that so you'll think there's no way something could be there. Clearly the Rover just rolled over this area, so there can't be anything there. Every time I see something that just looks out of place, I go after it. Like I said in the description, I said, they screwed up, and I went after it like a pit bull. And, you know, you can't help it. You just got to do it. Martin Penwright, you say, can you look at the hill top left? Chris, I see a face. I'm not sure if you're talking about this area right here. Right there. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about. Is that the one you're talking about there? Look at it. I'm even looking at these pieces here. I didn't even see these in here. Look at all the little pieces like intertwined, and I don't even know what to make of this. Can you imagine if this is a small city? The beings on this planet must be incredibly small, if that's the case. Or are these just remnants of things that are laying on the ground that were part of something much larger? I don't know. I really don't. Olin Creeley said, with grass. Leslie Warren, you said, so the so-called rocks are higher than is shown. Pitch is totally false. Get so angry, Chris. Yeah, I don't blame you. Again, if you take away a lot of the shadows and edges and everything else, you take away any kind of 3D or actual photo and seeing things standing up from the surface. You get rid of that, most of the stuff looks like flat rocks. And you got a few boulders here and there. Because again, we can go back to the original. And of course, I had put the fisheye goes back. But you see like maybe a couple flat rocks, nothing more. You know, a couple things sticking out of the ground, nothing much, you know. But, and of course I'll make it brighter so you can see them better. So you can see them here and there, you know. They don't want you to believe anything's taller than what you're actually seeing in the photo when, yeah. H. Strauss 1AV, you say, I say pieces strewn by a large catastrophe, I think he said, because it just jumped on me, a disaster. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, all they did here, guys, was to land again in another part of Mars that had another civilization. And it happens to be in an ancient lake bed, just like in Gale Crater. And if you think about it, like I said, when I had done this area, Jezero Crater, it looked like structures that would be on the coast up on the edge. You can see them, which look like structures. And then it looked like kind of like after the water was gone, it looked like there was roadways or some kind of things. And even if they were cracks in the ground, you could go with that because, you know, it dries up and the ground starts cracking. But they're like perfectly intersecting, perfectly 90-degree angles. Is it possible these were agriculture kind of like where they were having water, they were feeding water to certain places when the water was drying up. I don't know. But again, they're there for a reason. It's not to look at rocks and maybe they are checking for microbial life, like I said. If you know pretty much everything about these beings that were here, again, you want to see what they ate as well and what was on this planet to give them food and stuff like that. So that would be a great way by drilling, taking core samples and stuff like that. See what was on this planet. So they want to know everything they can know about, if these, what they were, how they, well, obviously they pretty much know how they built, maybe their technology or whatever. I don't know. But again, can you imagine if this is an actual miniature city type thing? These people must be like 3 inches tall. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. At least to our minds, it doesn't make sense, right? Yeah, Theta Mooned Me. I like that. Theta Moon Me. Appreciate your support. I really do. Your question is it just me, or does NASA completely disregard and deflect from talking about Cydonia? It's not like it's not an interesting location to send a rover. Well, somebody had asked me that not too long ago, and I said, well, we know we have the MRO, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, and we know that it can take an ungodly detailed photo of a 4-foot swath on the ground. So even if they didn't send a lander or a rover or anything of that sort, they got absolutely detailed photos of that area. Absolutely detailed. And this is the reason why they probably said, well, at this point, there's no point going there at this point. We'll wait. No big deal. We have all the information we need. And maybe, because they even called it a city. Remember that? Because of the pyramids and stuff like that, and was next to it, the Pyramid City. And, so again, if there's nothing been set there, maybe a lander, a rover, whatever it may be, you can bet they have absolutely brilliant, detailed photos of Cydonia. You can almost guarantee it. Again, thank you for your support. I do appreciate you. Ricardo, same to you, sir. Thank you very much for your support, as always. He said Hangout number 100 would be on May 7th if there are no gaps between now and then. On this day in 1867, Swedish chemist Alfred Nobel patents dynamite in England. Looking forward to an explosive episode 100. Yeah, we're going to see. What do you guys think we should come up with? I'll let you guys come up with something, and then I'll think about something we can do, and maybe we can do something there. I actually had an idea, and it wasn't so much. Well, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. I'm not going to say nothing. But so I'm going to keep that one under wraps. But I'm going to let you guys. We'll throw some ideas around, see what we come up with. What do you guys think for the 100th? So right now we're at the 94th. We've got 6 more episodes. So yeah, and like you said, provided nothing happens and whatever else. We'll see. What do you think we should do for the 100th? Aaron M97 Ohio, I think it is. It's supposed to be OH. Isn't there water trapped underground? Absolutely. They have found in the South Pole, there is an underground lake. And the only reason why they seen that was because it's got to be at least a foot deep for this penetrating radar to actually see it. So it's got to be at least a foot deep, and it was. I think it was a little bit more than a foot deep, and it was about a mile and a half in width underground. So there is quite a bit of water under there. Now, even if it's salt water, which I don't believe that it should be, not next to the pole anyway, you think it'd be more of a freshwater lake. But a lot what you see, they call it, it's basically brine, which is high salt content, locked in the ground. Again, I'm not sure why it'd be all salt, but if it's in a lake bed, that's a good possibility. It's just like our oceans, a lot of them are, in fact, salt. So it's a very good possibility that's what they're finding. But this is the reason why they say some of the water will not freeze, because it's got a lower freezing point as far as salted water, right? But they basically claim it's mostly brine. But every time, this is what's funny, as you mentioned that, every time you see like a crater, you see this water running down it, you never see on top of that crater. It's always like they're down in the crater and you can see it coming down the walls. Wait a minute. So it's not seeping out of the ground, meaning it's not covering the bottom of that crater. It's just coming down the walls. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on this, guys, but of course I'm being sarcastic. But isn't the crater floor higher than the crater wall, why would it not be coming up and seeping out of the ground and filling the bottom of these craters? I don't know. It might be only certain deposits of this water, but still, you would think enough it would come down and it would go into the ground on the floor of these craters. Even if it goes in, it seeps in and freezes up, and then it just melts and comes back. I don't know. It's just there's a lot of things in these photos that simply, or their explanations, just simply don't make any sense. They do not make any sense. James Cragen, thank you again, sir, for your support. You said, I have one, Chris. Some clips of some of your best vids, Mars and Lunar, over the great years of fantastic work and research from you. Just a thought. Now, that's not the first time I heard somebody say that, kind of like a montage kind of thing. I had done one when I first, well, not when I first got on there, but I had done one that has like different ones and different sols and stuff like that. That's not a bad idea, right? That would take quite some time to put together, though, because if you want to put like X amount, you know what I mean, you'd have to like literally have to go back through all of these. So that'd be quite a bit to do. Robert, you said a Hangout 100. What about Rover on Saturn live feed? But let me guess, it's going to take some time. Well, Saturn. Are you talking about the what do they call it? It's not there yet, though. You're talking about when they actually send it? Is that what you're talking about? Well, here's the thing. I mean, it's kind of like if you're talking about that, I mean, it's kind of like this one here. We went live with this, and we had done that. And it didn't take very long. I mean, it was on there for a while, but it was actually, I don't know, I forget what it was now, a couple hours. But if it was even that long, but let's call it a couple hours. When that happens, sure, we can do that. But believe it or not, guys, I actually got flagged for that. Well, not flagged for it. It was basically a copyright. I'm saying, really? This was done live, and it wasn't on YouTube. And yet they basically, this, that, and the other, because of the music that was in it that they used. So you basically got copyrighted for it. But it wasn't like a strike against you. It's like they would get the credit for it, which is not a big deal to me. I don't really care. I wanted to bring the actual live feed to you guys anyway, so I may do the same thing on that. So, yeah. Leslie Lesh, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate it. And you said, keep it up with the working out pair. That's pretty cool. That thing's funny. But I do appreciate it. Thank you. But, yeah. Let me see. Well, you guys are just saying something else. Just above Leslie here. Thank you again, Leslie. I do appreciate you. He said, Jay, he said, 100th Hangout Spectacular. Ask NASA, can you have a remote access for a few hours? That would be something. Can you guys just give me the live link? I'd love to see a live video and maybe a couple of real photos to go with that. They'd be like, what? Is this guy a kook? It's like, no. Just come on. Let's just see the real stuff. Come on, man. Stop playing around. What I'd like to do is drop a couple of these photos, especially this one here, if you go to Twitter, it's got its own rover. It has it's like the Perseverance is actually on Twitter. Yeah, well, clearly it's not. But, and it says, oh, I'm moving over here, like it's actually talking to you, like it's the real thing. Say, hey, Perseverance, what's up with this, with your stuff you're finding? It'll be like, they're probably going, okay, let's get rid of that comment. Block his ass. But, yeah. This thing just jumped on me here, guys. Sorry about that. Here we go. Renee Cruz says, countdown to disclosure, third phase of moon. Yeah, I mean, everybody's banking on that. I would love to see that because there's a lot of stuff coming out. My only hope is this. I don't care whose channel is doing this, right? I don't care if it's, whatever channel it is, and they're really putting the pressure on, showing what's in these photos and everything like that. I hope that some of these, your hope is that some of these real scientists, and I don't mean the ones working for NASA or any of these other, other space agencies. My hope is that they'll see this and question that and say, hey, this maybe sound a little far-fetched, but I've seen this on a video here. But it seems like, we've studied this photo ourselves, and we came up to the same conclusions. You guys have any idea what this is all about? And I'd love to see him, like literally put him on the stand and watch him choke. That would be something interesting. I know, it's a great question. Silverback, you said, why is the background moving? Just switch to my big screen, and I see the ground behind the Rover slightly move left or right, like looking at a 3D pic. Well, see, that's what I had done when I had done this here. Like, we can go back to color. But when I did the lens correction, watch what happens. See how it does that? So I don't know if that's what you see the second you switched over and somehow that happened. See how it kind of like, if you look at it, it's because it's like got that fisheye lens, it's kind of like, maybe it's a little more off in the back. But then you use and it kind of looks like it looks slightly closer. It doesn't look as far away. Who knows if they're using that for that reason? I don't know. But yeah, there's nothing there, guys. Just tracks. Yeah, let me see. Let me see. I heard something about that, Renee. You said right now on the news is an AI Android robot that painted a painting, and the painting is selling for $700,000. ABC News. I heard it because didn't they have one? It would literally painted a picture. This is a while back. It wasn't even just recent that had done that. I mean, they had everything from. I mean, these AIs are getting smarter and smarter, guys. Where remember way back in the day, they had one playing the top chess players, and it would beat them. First, it was getting beaten, then it learned, and it just whoops them every time. So it's pretty wild. That's sweet. I like that. Subway discount for the number 100. Hangout. I like that. Do I get the discount or do? So it's like, yes, sweet. Hell, I'll even drink to that. Let's see. Aaron, you said I could regress into the past life and see Mars. Never know. Well, that's true. That it's almost like after you see the stuff that's in these photos, you can actually like imagine or just put it in your head what maybe they look like. Or your brain tries to make sense of it all. Like, is it possible that it's like you're saying there's no way people could be that small, so that can't be it. But how do we know that? We like I said, Mars is what, just slightly, maybe half the size of the Earth, and they'll say, well, if anything with their gravity, the beings would be tall and spindly, but the gravity hasn't always been this little. It's always been. They claimed that it was more than what it is now. So would they in fact still be tall and spindly, and being half the size of the planet? I don't know. This raises a lot of questions. So if they are telling the truth about the atmosphere, if they are telling, which I don't think they are at all, and again, I read an article before about how they challenged the idea about the pressure on Mars, and, of course, they just kind of like, we don't really want to answer that. But I believe there's much more here than, what they're saying, and I think they're not telling the full truth, because if they told you the exact, pressure on Mars, and they said there's actually blue skies, there's rain, this and that. You go, wait a minute, doesn't this sound like a lot like Earth? So why couldn't things be living there? And I do. They'll come out with it. I guarantee it. It's either going to be fossilized or they're going to find, microorganisms that are actually alive. So. It's not a bad idea either, Anita M. He said, just an idea, maybe invite someone from the chat who's also good at spotting some of these anomalies to point them out from their perspective. Maybe a split screen. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Renee, you said on a A&E, there's an extraterrestrial UFO alien comedy show called People of Earth. It's about 3 extraterrestrial aliens, 1 gray, 1 Nordic, and 1 reptoid that abduct people. Oh, never even seen that. Huh. Reverend Gravel, you said, Signing out, Chris. Up early. I don't blame you. Got to do the same in the morning. But I appreciate you being in here, and I do appreciate your support and, your commenting and everything else on here. I do appreciate it. So have yourself a good weekend and stay healthy there, right? Be safe. George Mayer. No, I'm glad you're here, man. You said hi, Chris, and all. Sorry I'm late. You're fine, man. We're just going over the photo that we were looking at, or I had done a video on. So we're looking at it again. Now let's jump over to here. Here's some of the crazy things they had, and of course this is the link This is another one I was just looking at. Sol 32. Have you guys seen this article here? It says, "What messages have we sent to aliens?" So at first I'm going, interesting. But it says, and this is kind of weird, but in the early 19th century, Austrian, let me go ahead and make this bigger so you guys can see this too. Australian astronomer Joseph Johann von Littrow earnestly proposed that humans dig trenches configured into vast geometric patterns in the Sahara Desert, fill them with kerosene and light them ablaze. The idea was to send a clear message to alien civilizations living elsewhere in the solar system. We are here. I don't know how well that would work from a distance, but yeah. Von Littrow never saw this, or his idea rather, come to fruition. Still, long after he proposed his ambitious plan, we haven't stopped our attempts to contact alien life. So what messages have we sent to aliens? And radio actualized the quest to declare Earth's existence. In 1962, Soviet scientists aimed a radio transmitter at Venus and saluted the planet in Morse code. This introduction, the first of its kind, included 3 words: Mir, Russian for peace or world, Lenin in SSSR, the Latin alphabet acronym for Cyrillic name of the Soviet Union. The message was considered largely symbolic, according to the 2018 article published in the International Journal of Astrobiology, tongue trips on that. More than anything, it was a test run for a brand new planetary radar, a technology which sends radio waves into space with the primary goal of observing and mapping objects in the solar system. In the terms of distance, the next attempt to reach ET was far more ambitious. In 1974, a team of scientists, including astronomers Frank Drake and Carl Sagan, transmitted a radio message from the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico toward Messier 13, a cluster of stars about 25,000 light years away. The image, sent in binary code, depicted, and of course you guys remember it was on the spacecraft, right? Depicted a human stick figure, a double helix DNA structure, and a model of a carbon atom, and a diagram of a telescope. And of course, this is right here, Frank Drake, the founder of SETI, sits next to the stained glass window of Arecibo message at his home in Optus, California in 2015. And of course, this credit goes to Washington Post contributor via Getty Images. The Arecibo message tried to give a snapshot of who we are as human beings in the language of math and science. Douglas Vakoch, a physiologist and the president of the Messaging Extraterrestrial Intelligence, or METI, M-E-T-I, International told Live Science. And of course, the short house says it quite literally was a shot in the dark and took around 25 days. So it's cool that they tried to do this. More recently, radio has been used to transmit everything from art to advertisements. And yeah, because you never know when an alien's going to want a Dodge Ram or something. In 2008, Doritos beamed its own ad to a solar system in the Ursa Major's constellation around 42 light years away, according to the article in the International Journal of Astrobiology. In 2010, a message written in Klingon, get that, a language used for fictional aliens in Star Trek universe, invited real aliens to attend a Klingon opera in Holland. Now, to me, that's just silliness now. But you can see where they had these gold plates and stuff. They're basically a gold record that was on the spacecraft. But you see Voyagers 1 and 2. We haven't relied only on radio to communicate. We've also launched spacecraft containing artifacts from Earth in the hope that they'll eventually be scoped. Well, it says scooped out, I would imagine be scoped out, but of interstellar space by intelligent life forms. Voyagers 1 and 2 were launched in 1977 to explore the outer reaches of our solar system and interstellar space. Each carries a golden record containing music, ambient sounds from Earth, and 116 images of our planet and solar system. So I think that's kind of cool how they did that. And I remember seeing this a long time ago. But, it's just cool how they did that now. And it even had, if I'm not mistaken, it showed how to actually use that. There was something on here that had, see how it's showing like right here? Like how to actually use the actual record. So that was pretty cool. Yep, basically ones and zeros. Asash Horror, I'm just going to call it Lapis. We'll just call you short for that. That's a tongue twister and a half. But interesting to say the least on these. I mean, they're saying experts agree that the likelihood that any of these attempts will reach alien civilizations is low. That outcome depends, of course, on whether there's alien life in our solar system, but that life in question would also have to be listening closely for radio signals and understand enough about math and science to interpret our messages. Well, again, if they're on the same kind of thing and we've used something very similar to what we use, maybe it wouldn't be that far-fetched to receive it, right? But that life in question would also have to be listening closely for radios and understand enough about math. Okay. Finally, the messages we've sent tend to assume that these aliens sense the universe in the same way that we do with hearing and vision. No, but I mean, if you're going by, like you were saying earlier, ones and zeros, or zeros and ones, then mathematics is like universal, right, kind of thing. But that doesn't mean all of the messages are pointless. We're looking. Why wouldn't they be looking? Wells Jensen told Life's Science. And if our messages are unintelligible to these hypothetical beings, that's okay. I think the most important thing that we've ever said is just that we exist, Wells Jensen said, which is true. I mean, that's all you got to say, because clearly if we had a spacecraft coming at us right now and it's literally transmitting something from another civilization, or it came to our planet or whatever, then clearly there's somebody else out there. Even if you didn't understand a bloody thing about them, you'd still say, oh, well, this is not ours, so clearly, it's from another civilization, so that's awesome, right? Joe Night Fury, what's going on? He said, stop sending us nukes, humans. Oh, yeah, pay no mind to those nuclear power plants in the back of those rovers, by the way. It's no big deal. What's the worst could happen? John J. Some enterprising alien is probably sitting with Voyager in the cargo bay, Mimi. That's pretty funny. Rockets, I guess you're taking off. You said it's Z time. You're great hangout. Bye. All right, Rockets, appreciate you being here. Appreciate your support, man, and conversation and all that other good stuff. So have yourself a good week and be safe. And, just have a good one in general. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and as we know, H-1AV, the Voyager 1 is now EXO. It's been EXO solar system for quite a few years now, which I think is really interesting. And they still get information back from it, which is really, again, interesting. Mimi, good one. Oh, my God, Chris. Imagine the aliens received a message and think, oh, not this spam again. That would be pretty cool. Well, funny, too. I mean, obviously. But yeah. But let's see. Let's bring that down. You can see SpaceX fires Starship SN-1 or 11. I was gonna say 11 rocket ahead of the possible launch today. Just cool stuff on this day in space, March 26, 1958. U.S. Army launches Explorer 3 satellite. So again, we've had rocketry for how long? I mean, it's been going on long before that. It's been as far as being out in space and trying to launch out into space, it's been since I think it was late 30s and 40s. So I mean, it's been quite a few times. I'm not talking about just making them and testing them. I'm talking about long before that. Seeing the invisible, how Nobel Laureata, whatever, Andrea, we'll just call it Andrea, found the supermassive black hole in the Milky Way's center. That is just cool. See, SpaceX's most flown rocket returns to home port after 9th flight. Reusable, man. Keep the what do you call it? Price of flight down. For all mankind sneak peek, watch astronauts test fire guns on the moon and best laid plans. This is interesting. I want to see how this completely goes out as far as the Starlink satellite mega constellation launches in photos. This cool how they're launching them damn things. It's pretty cool. Firefly Aerospace readies Alpha rocket for 2021 debut launch. Ramps up operation. See, this is what I'm saying. Everybody's getting in on this, right? It's just cool to see everybody, and nothing but props to these countries and other people trying to do this. Again, but it just seems like all of a sudden there's an explosion. Of course, we hate to see explosions when it comes to rockets, but we see an explosion of people wanting to get out there. It's like they know. They're in the know. I mean, clearly we have the technology to do it. We've had the technology to send rockets out into space for how long now? But yet, everybody wants just a piece of the action. They all want to go to Mars. For what reason? There's nothing there to see. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know if you guys seen this. NASA analysis. Earth is safe from asteroid Apophis for 100 years plus. Well, 100 plus years, rather, if you want to look at it that way. The near-Earth object was thought to pose a slight risk of impacting Earth in 2068, but now radar observations have ruled that out. I'm not sure. I mean, that could still change. If rock could hit it, going by the sun could change its trajectory, gravitational pulls in certain ways. Yeah. A powerful solar storm hit Earth back in 1582. Yeah. Cool stuff here. New theory suggests large blobs of material in Earth's mantle are remnants of protoplanet Theia. I don't know if you guys have seen that. That was pretty interesting. A team of scientists in Arizona University have proposed that the large blobs of material in Earth's mantle, the large low-shear velocity provinces, or the LLSVPs, may be leftover pieces of Theia, a proto-planet theorized. And you can see it right here. What they think is Theia, proto-Earth, Earth now, newly formed moon, and then, of course, Earth, and then, of course, the moon came out. So this is what they proposed, which is really interesting, but we see ancient civilization talk about that it was, we talked about Tiamat, and we talked about other ones. They suddenly have different names for all of these, so I find that pretty interesting. Autographs. I sped up to live now. Yeah, sometimes I got to do that. I'm actually reading these and I say, man, I got to get down to the bottom here. Silverback74 says, have a good weekend, Chris. We're named buddies, by the way. Keep up the good work. Oh, all right. Cool. All right. Have yourself a good one, man. Thanks for being here and commenting and supporting the channel. It's always appreciated. You know that. Have a good one. On to Kraft says, don't forget the thumbs up. Let's see. Equalizer taking off, I think. Said, good night. John Shea was saying. All right. He said, I'm off. 1 a.m. here. Got to get some Z's. Good show. Great show. Appreciate it, Equalizer. Thanks for being here, brother. And we'll see you soon, all right? Have a good weekend. And you can see, I think we were talking about this earlier, light show over U.S. sky, likely SpaceX debris re-entering atmosphere. Yeah. Here's another one. Ocean currents predicted on Enceladus. Buried beneath 20 kilometers of ice, the subsurface ocean of Enceladus, one of Saturn's moons, appears to be churning with currents akin to those on Earth. Imagine that. And I've always seen these as not geysers here in the bottom. I think it's a bunch of crap. And this is basically a CGI kind of thing right here. I don't think that's a real photo of it. Because when you actually see real photos of it, it doesn't make any sense. Because like I said, I've got photos here where I've done it. Well, you can look up Enceladus on my videos. You can go there and you can see where I tore a few of the photos apart. Let me see here. Let's see. Peter Petrelli says, enjoy the weekend, Chris. Keep up the great work. Keep it coming. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I'll give you guys the links to all of these we used, as always. And you guys can check it out. And I'm going to give you the other photo, too, we were just looking at again. Well, actually, it's already in the video, so you don't really need it. You can go back to the Sol 31 there in the video we just done if you guys want to check that out more. And like I said, I actually mentioned, too, about the right here up on Odyssey. And you can see where so far we got 229 followers. That's awesome. But we were actually talking about, and it was Josh D that said, hey, Chris, you got to look at this. It's actually clearer. The player on here seems to be clearer than the one on YouTube, and I was like, well, that's kind of odd. Let me just check it out. Like I said, I brought up, like this particular video here, structures and mechanical parts. This one here, prior done to the last one I just did, or latest one, because it was today. And I put it to both of the same timestamps, and I looked, and I could look at myself and the actual picture, and it was slightly clearer. I thought that was really odd, but they maybe have a better, like I said, again, player on that site, so I thought it was pretty interesting. And if you guys haven't jumped up there, go up there and you just sign up there, and you guys can be part of here, the followers up here as well, because there may be a time where I might just, put content up there, and if YouTube is starting to get more and more ridiculous, and I might just test out the grounds. Yeah, I never uploaded anything here. These are just connected to my YouTube, so either way, you're seeing the right video, right? But I want to do that where we'll put some extra stuff up here as well, just try it out, make sure it's working well, and we'll go from there. So, yeah. Oh, you're right about the comment about that, James. He said that wasn't even tracked until it was a couple 100 miles away, and they are watching another one. Yeah, I mean, listen, these things come out of nowhere sometimes, and they're traveling so quickly. We're not talking about some of these things are 27 up to 40,000 miles per hour going through, and if they're small, they're not gonna see them until it's too late. So I believe that we could actually get hit by one of these darn things, and it could, basically be a planet killer type thing. Which reminds me, if you guys haven't seen that movie Greenland yet, check it out. It's actually a good movie. It's basically almost like a Deep Impact movie, but really, really good storyline to it, and really, really good. Like I said, really good. What was his name? Last name was Butler. The star that plays in it. He's from, I don't know if he's from Ireland or where he's from, but really, really good movie. I watched it a couple of times. So if you guys get a chance, watch that. It's pretty cool. Otto Krause said, thank you, Chris, and all of you amazing community, and feel good vibes you all bring. Nothing but acceptance and love in this chat. Well, that's the way we try to keep it. And hey, don't forget to give some love to the thumbs down. They need a little love there too. Because of poor souls, they got nothing better to do. So you got to give them a little extra love there too. Bush Corey says, your question, will Odyssey become an app? Truthfully, I don't even know. I'm sure at some point it will. Because I think, obviously this is relatively new as opposed to YouTube. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could jump on there even if you're just on a regular, because you can still go on Google on your phone. Okay, yeah, James, you're right. Scotland, okay. I was trying to remember which one it was. I knew it was one of the two. And Arts and Crafts, check it out. It's definitely a good movie. And H-Toss, you said the same thing. Greenland was great. Yeah, I mean, it was really had a whole bunch of everything, too. Great special effects, some good, like, exciting parts to it, and a couple tear-jerking parts to it. Really, really good movie. So if you're into everything that has everything thrown at you in a movie, that's a good movie to watch. Really, really good. Yes. Butler. Yes. What did I say? Gerard Butler, yes. Good actor. I liked him in, and if I'm not mistaken, he was in Reign of Fire. Wasn't it the Reign of Fire with all the dragons and everything else? And if I'm not mistaken, he was in that one. I could be. Maybe you guys can correct me on that. But really, really good. That's incredible. Haha, yes, Chris. Thank for the haters, because your awareness is spreading awareness by helping with the algorithm. Yeah, they just, like I said, for some reason they think, oh, if I show them that I hate his channel, or his, like I said, I just did the last video. It wasn't on there 20 seconds. Boom, thumbs down. I was like, ha, 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 ha. So you know that people are dedicated. That's what I love about them. You got to love these people. And, they just see it as interaction. They don't see it as a bad thing. They don't go, well, they got thumbs down, so therefore we can't put their video on or suggest it and put it in a suggested list on the right-hand side. So we'll just have to, I don't know what they think they're doing to it, but whatever. Let them do whatever they got to do. But I have a feeling I know who some of them are, so yeah. They'll get that extra love too, I'm sure. Let's see. Yeah, Bushcore, yeah. You said you watched the Bob Lazar movie today on Netflix. Quite a good eye-opener. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Nevin Resnick, you said, Chris, you asked, Chris, do you think, or do you find that the pictures are yielding more and more hidden objects as if they are extremely slowly and carefully releasing pieces of the truth? Yeah, I think they've been doing that for quite some time. It's like a kind of a slow drip kind of disclosure. And some of them I think is indirectly, meaning they don't mean to do that. They're literally trying to hide the stuff. But then the stuff you can see, once you train your eye to it, you just see it so easily. You just go, okay, I can see that's been blurred out. That's been blurred out. This has been taken out, digitally taken out. They darken photos. They do all kinds of crazy things to, trick your eye. But then there's times where it looks like, yeah, man, that was too easy. Like they're just trying to like slide it out slowly so you get the idea and that, basically, like I said, slow disclosure, just kind of letting it out slowly. Me personally, like I said, I wish they'd just throw it at us. The real photos where at least one, I'd love to have, like I said this many a times. I wish somebody would be disgruntled or somebody like real secretive gets a photo, gets one of these photos and sends it to me. I would so broadcast it. I mean, yeah. Of course, I'd probably have to get, 5 more guns and extra people to watch out for my house. But yeah, other than that, I'd be great. But I don't, they look at it this way. If you're putting this out there, they're just going, who's going to believe a YouTube channel? Even some of these other sites that are not even on YouTube, who's going to believe them? They're going to think they're all nuts. We don't care. Let them battle it out, because some of them will be that it's not true. This one's true. This one, this and that. I don't, you know what I mean? That's what they want. They want you to be so indecisive that you don't know who to believe. And it's like, listen, I just do this because it's just a passion of mine. I enjoy doing it. And just, it's like I said, it's like a Cracker Jack box. You never know what you're going to find in these things, right? So, and I enjoy doing it. Leslie Warren, he said, drip, drip, agree until the washer breaks and you get a huge gush. I wish. It'd be nice. Like I said, get that one good photo. Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to jump on off of this. Time to call it a night. And like I said, I've got to get up early tomorrow morning. I got to be at work at 6 anyway, which I don't care because then after that, come back home, hit the recliner, chill a little bit. And of course, I'll be, Sunday will go by. It always does quickly. We all know that. And that always sucks. You know how that goes. Let me go put this back on here. Oh, there we are. So, but yeah, I mean, fine turnout as always. We always have a great, time here. Like I said, nothing but love to you guys as far as the support and you just being here for conversation. And much love to you, the thumbs down. You guys basically suck, but we appreciate you. And, it's like I said, it's good to take time out of your important lives to just come to little old my channel and just give me the thumbs down. You guys are awesome. And like I said, it's not facing the channel. It's not doing a thing to it, so whatever. Thank you again, Louis Longbeard. Do appreciate you. Said peace, love, and positivity. Absolutely. That's why I get nothing but love for these other haters, too. So, and especially when you put a video on for 20, it's not even on 20 seconds, it's a thumbs down. Gotta love it. But they don't understand they'll always be outdone by the positives. That's what they don't get. So, but anyway, yeah, it's a great turnout as always. You guys are awesome. Like I said, good conversation. And just, we're going to see a lot more of these photos where hopefully we're seeing more of these mistakes in here. And we can bring out a lot more because clearly if they've done this one, there's going to be many more. You can just bet on it. So, like I said, great night as always. Great Friday night. Always a pleasure spending time with you guys, ladies and gents, and all of the usual suspects. Of course, I'm one of them too. Shh, don't tell nobody. Anyway, so as always, just awesome. You guys are great. A great bunch of folks. Wish we could all meet in this huge room and just all sit down and talk about it. We'd be out there for 2-3 days straight just talking about it. Just so much to talk about when it comes to this stuff. It's just awesome. And especially when you got like-minded people you can just sit there and talk to. It's just great. And that's what makes it more special, I think, and it becomes more of a family. So it's just cool in that aspect. But yeah, guys, show these thumbs down. If you guys haven't given a thumbs up yet, stomp them. Give them a thumbs up. Let them know what's up. And before taking off, everybody have a great weekend. Again, you guys are awesome. And just be healthy. Stay, just do your thing. Family first. And everything else is secondary, as I always say. Be safe, everyone. Be good. And we'll talk to you soon. We'll leave it on there. It's 19 past. Call it 20. We'll leave it on until 8:30. Everybody can still talk it up a little bit if you want to. And we'll catch you guys soon. Anyway, guys, peace. We'll talk to you soon. Oh, you jumped in there, Leonard Shellhammer. Okay, I didn't see it at first. I made the screen smaller. Thank you very much for your support as well. Much appreciated. Thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. Like I said, I'm going to jump on off here. You guys can hang until 8:30. Talk it up if you guys want. And like I said, if you don't mind, just throw that thumbs up. It's definitely appreciated. Phil Cox, you said, take care, everyone. See you all next week. Check out my new Moon vid. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen his stuff, he's got some good stuff. Phil Cox, you can check out the channel itself, and he does actually do a lot of sunsets and rises and all kinds of the cool stuff. Check his channel out if you haven't. Good stuff. Andre, you said thanks, man. Thanks for being here, Andre. Do appreciate you. And like I said, we're going to jump off. Peace, guys. Have a good one.